psychics who are blown away every day by
Tony could be like, "Here comes from
no,
the left."
but like I think this is real. This is real. Hot take
time.
number 1 of the night. I think it's totally representative of the fact that we typically only allow one new face in there at a time as a people when it comes to the broadcast crew, and they're all old heads, and it's a pope job, so you stay there until you fucking roll over, right? And so it's just riddled with the boomers and the you know what I mean, just so many old heads who and they're calling a game through the prism that they saw the game. They're calling a game live in a way that they're relating to themselves when they played happened. And it's changed a lot in the last 20 years. Yeah. And Tony, like 10. it's 10 even. And it's partially that Tony Romo's, a psychic, but I think more importantly, it's that he was in it super recently.
And he truly did have such a great brain. Such a great football brain. Like it's
the opposite of when he actually was playing.
Yeah. Well,
his brain worked great.
I don't know if I don't even really know if that's the case. And I still have a theory on that if he hadn't have been benched, they would have made it to the fucking playoffs that year.
No. Well, you're about to open this huge can of worms because this is my thing. If you look up, we all remember Tony Romo is this, like, for some reason, like, this unspeakable choke artist.
Yeah.
And if you
look at him on paper,
get on ProFootballReference.com. Yeah. His fourth quarter numbers aren't good. They're fucking elite. They're all time. Yeah. The dude was not everything but a choke artist. It's just that the few times he did happened to be under the magnifying glass of the nation. Yeah. And it's recency bias.
And you got to look at who he's playing against in the league. Like, you've arguably got 3 greatest of all time quarterbacks that he's playing against.
Let me ask you this. If you're in sales, right, at a certain point, if you don't have good numbers, you're selling a shitty product, right? At a certain point, it might not be you. Tony Romo has lead receivers who are coming in week 3 because of stupid suspensions. Eli Manning has had Victor Cruz in the slot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Eli Manning has played for an organization who consistently drafts well, who protects him. He's not playing on his back. He's not constantly injured. Do you think that if Tony Romo was playing for the Patriots for the last 20 years, that he wouldn't have rings?
Dude, I believe that anybody playing for Bill Belichick, it could have been any random 6th-round
make it the Giants then. Well, make it the Giants. Yeah, well, you think he'd have with 2 those rings,
weapons,
Eli rings?
With those weapons, yes. I would think so. And I think that
Tony Romo played for a fractured organization. They truly are America's team because their mediocrity that celebrates themselves ad nauseum. They're 8-8 fucking habitually.
That's great. That's wonderful. This is the first time you came up with that? Because that's great. I've never heard you say that.
I'm pretty sure I've said that to you. We just drink a lot.
No, that might be true.
Glad we got this recorded, guys.
I'm glad. Yeah, that's great, man. No, but I'll go back and to extend on what you just said. Go back. Let's say, if you put Dan Marino in number 16 in red and gold in San Francisco, you think Dan has 0 rings too?
Absolutely not. I think the Miami Dolphins are a fucking mess.
Right. He made it to Super Bowl's first year.
I think that you're living in. There's something to be said about cities that are fun to be in.
Miami's not fun to be in.
No. He's saying that the fun detracted from the on-field.
Yes.
Oh,
all right. Here's the thing, though. We're getting away from the fact that at the end of the day, it's a team sport.
Yes.
Right. It's the same as the front man in a band.
Yeah,
we put way too much stock on the success or the failure of a team on the front man.
On one
guy. Yeah. And he's a part of a puzzle and he's super important.
Yes.
That's true, but aren't there also instances where
did Kirk Cousins set completion percentage records? Did Kirk Cousins set
Dude, he took Wes Welker, who's like a guy. He's a guy. Wes Welker.
Dude, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But without if Wes Welker was on the Dolphins in the same era, or if he was on the Ravens, is he a household name like he is because he played? Tom Brady didn't have anything to do with making Welker as well.
Dude, we don't have a way to know because
Tom Brady as it is Bill Belichick. Yeah, in this situation.
But Wes Welker had great numbers when he left, but he just happened to go to fucking Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're Wes Welker, you've only
Same
played
with Brandon
for Brady
Stokely.
and
Brandon
Manning.
Stokely is the predecessor to all these guys in that he's just like a small white person that's like putting up mad numbers. Do you remember
Where did
Brandon
this kid
Stokely?
come from?
Yeah, dude. When he was with the Colts in the mid 2000s, he was unstoppable, and he's got a touchdown reception for the Ravens, which is super weird. But I think he's the prototype for that whole thing. The Wes Welkers, the Julian Edelmans, the
Like Tom Brady's
Austin
just made a
Collie.
habit out of taking average-sized white dudes and turning them into
Tom Brady,
all-pro
dude. No,
receivers.
Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, dude. I think
Bill Belichick.
I think
Bill Belichick is the Casey
legitimately
Stengel of football.
Okay.
One day may not roster.
But there's a reason that Brady's
He'll
done
just
it for 16
just to show
years.
he can. I want to beat you with tiny white people.
Well, I
Do
say
you
that
think
Bill
if,
Belichick.
That's a
if he
derivative
could
take,
do
by
it
the
so
way.
easily with anybody, do you think Tom would still be there? I mean, wouldn't you want somebody who could at least escape
Yeah, I would want
the
Jimmy
pocket from
Garoppolo.
time to time?
Yeah, I want Jimmy
Someone who
Yeah,
would
that was
step up
stupid,
and
by the way.
scramble.
I want
them
Jimmy
getting rid of
Garoppolo.
him.
Like, if it's so easy
should
to
never
step
gotten
into
rid
that
of him.
system and be successful, then why is a guy who can't escape pressure, period? He's the worst at getting out of any bad situation.
He eats avocado toast, Monty.
Right.
Can you read?
and 0 tomatoes.
So then why is he
TB12.
still doing it? Why haven't they moved on to somebody else?
Well,
Because Bill Belichick don't need anybody different.
Here's the thing.
But
Here's
there's
the thing.
other guys who are obviously have a greater skill set than Brady does. If
Dude,
all
Brady-
it takes is the system.
You want to get conspiracy
I'm
theory
not a
on it?
champion of
Like,
Brady,
let's
okay? I'm just saying.
Here's how it goes. Here's how it goes. Brady went above Belichick. He went straight to Robert Kraft. He had Garoppolo ship the fuck out because not only was Garoppolo
Probably.
physically better,
But he's
Yes.
also
he's
there's
also
only
more
room-
beautiful somehow.
Right.
Like there's one person in America.
only room for
who
one
also to happen to have been
handsome,
drafted by the
chiseled
Patriots.
man.
And so this devastatingly handsome dude coming off the bench is making throws that you can't anymore because you're 1,000 years old in NFL time.
You really are.
And you went above your coach. You went straight to the Crafts and you said, I've bought you wild rings. Get rid of this dude. I'm not ready. And they were like, we're going to do right by you. And I'm telling you, at the end of fucking Brady's career, Belichick, he may be coaching the Browns. He's going to be, he's
He'll
going to
never
fucking
listen. The Browns will
bounce.
never win anything until Bill goes back there and makes it right.
Dude, the Browns, wild fuego take. The Browns are going to win 8 games this year.
Did you see that the Browns are winning?
There's going to be a parade.
There's a bar in Cleveland that is giving away free. If the Browns win, your beer is free today.
Dude, they fuck that bar. All right, I'm speaking past that bar. They're gonna finish 500. They have
what?
That's your first step.
record.
That's your
They're
first
gonna
step.
go 8-8.
No, they're not.
That's the biggest step.
That's
Do you know when
your
the
first
last time
step.
they won 2 consecutive game wins?
How long?
Johnny Manziel was the
When was the
quarterback.
last time
Yeah.
they collectively won 8 games? How many games do
Oh,
you need
years.
to count?
Dude,
before you get to
my
8
buddy
wins?
Trevor Cadell, shout out Trevor, did the math. And what's his name? Hugh Jackson,
Yeah,
head coach,
this is his third
has
season.
won 1 game per year, right? So he has to win 10 games a year for close to a decade to be 500 as their coach. That's how bad he is, or how bad they are. They're just
I
a
feel like
fucking
it's
mess.
front office.
I'll say this year, though, the
they're
weapons
walking
they've
in
got.
with Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry. They've got what's his name?
They've
How do you
arguably got
say?
the best receiving
What's the
core in
passer
football.
disaster?
Jarvis Landry is the funniest thing.
What's the
ever.
passer disaster from the Bills? Terrell Pryor?
No, he left and then went to Washington.
How
Now
do
he's
you
on the
say? What's
Jets.
my man's name, dude?
Oh,
quarterback.
JT Barrett.
No,
Josh
dude.
McCarron's out.
No, dude. The guy who came from the Bills.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor just broke the longest streak ever in playoff drought at the Bills under center.
Yeah, Bills went to the
And
Super Bowl
and
three
they
times
and
in
they
the
trade
90s
and not
never
only
saw
did they
it
trade
again.
him, they sat him for a game to start the Peterman. They started Nathan Peterman, who threw like 4 or 5 interceptions in the first
Jesus.
half of the only game he played. And here's the thing, Tyrod Taylor has a better QPR than Jim fucking Kelly. There's not a quarterback in the history of the Buffalo Bills that has a higher QPR than Tyrod Taylor. And the Browns now have a first-round draft pick, Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon.
But the thing you're not remembering,
Fuego take.
but they're
Fuego
the Browns.
take. The Cleveland Browns are winning 8 games. Book that shit.
They're the Browns.
You heard it here first.
But they're the Browns.
They are the Browns. I'll call it the curse of the Bill Bino.
But they got to play everybody in the division twice, right?
What's the curse of the
The curse of the Bill Bino.
Bill Bino. Oh, that's great.
That's my thing. The curse of the Bill Bino. I've never heard anybody else say that. Bill Belichick left.
You heard that here first, too.
Yeah, you heard that here first. Spread that, by the way.
Where's Eric Mangini in all this right now, by the way?
Sitting behind Belichick with a clipboard, making wild money.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
No, he's actually, he was a broadcaster on something.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's
NFL Network. He's at the NFL Network. That's where he is. He really is.
All the greats go to broadcasting, you know.
Same.
But, all right.
Me too.
But still, I got no problem in the world. With the Browns doing well. As a matter of fact, I don't have an NFL team.
The comeback story of the year.
I don't have an NFL team at all.
Don't say they're not, dude. All right.
You know who I pull for? I pull for whoever our hot Alabama receiver goes to or wherever. So I mean that's technically
Calvin Ridley,
the Falcons, or I mean
out here, bro. Julio.
Because of Julio for the last few years. I got a Julio card. I don't have any sports cards at all, by the way, but I have a Julio like.
That's one. You do.
Yeah, I have one. I have that one. And I also have a Chipper Jones rookie card, buddy, that one of my buddies gave me, a Chipper Jones rookie card with his high school stats on the back.
I'll gut you like a fish for that. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, I have actually some awesome shit that I'll show you after this, some Brave shit. But anyway.
Yeah, better be Brave shit.
But yeah, I don't know. I wanted them to do well when Trent Richardson went into Cleveland, but he was the biggest bust in football history until fucking.
And that's why. Go finish your thought. Until fucking what?
Nah, he was the hugest bust. He was the hugest bust in football history until my boy. What's my other Alabama running back? How am I missing this?
Ingram?
Mark Ingram's actually making up for his years of shittiness now, or has been.
No, he's not.
I mean, he's not doing as bad as he was. That's one thing about Alabama is we'll have outstanding studs in college, and then they'll go to the NFL and like just suck a big old donkey dick.
That's all right. You said Trent Richardson, and that's why I go to
Eddie Lacy.
Oh my God, that's another one.
He's the one.
That's another one.
I think he's a bust.
Dude, he had some good years at Green Bay, and he arrived in Seattle.
Look at the scouting reports of all NFL scouts
for
every
Henry.
single team about Trent Richardson. Look at all of them. What every single scout said about this kid.
You've read all the scouting reports?
Yes, I have. I have.
He hasn't.
I swear to God, I have.
Okay, all right.
I'm not lying to you. I've read.
After this point, tell me where to find the scouting reports.
I have read the scouting reports on Trent Richardson, and they are wildly, like, no downside. Great hands out of the backfield, great pass blocking, runs with power, runs downhill, finds the hole. Smart guy, knows
more
his
than
reads.
I can do. If you know
like they go on and on and on and on and on about how there's no way this guy doesn't hit a home run for whoever takes him.
Which is crazy because he plays football.
But it was but I'm just it was so far off base.
Yeah,
so
I know
when
what you mean.
read the scouting reports for a guy like that, and they're so wrong, and then you look at Brady, right? 6th round pick. Nobody gave a shit about this guy. He's slow at best, is what they said.
Yeah.
Terrible recognition. No pocket presence. Decent accuracy. Can't really throw a long ball. Dude, just 5 rings. Okay, I guess Belichick's the reason for that. But
where are you getting this information? Who said he couldn't throw a long ball?
Look, dude, you can look up scouting reports on anybody for as long as
how? I'm asking you how.
Mr. fucking Google, man. Like, take your phone out of your pocket.
No, is that a website?
MrFuckingGoogle.com.
MrFuckingGoogle.com. You can look at scouting reports for any player you want.
No,
I'm
but
sure you
seriously,
can. I'm asking you what your method
I
is.
feel like it could have been any 6th round quarterback.
These people.
What?
How much stock?
Wait, what was your point?
You don't know.
It could have been any 6th round quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers was a fucking 6th round quarterback.
But Aaron Rodgers also got to sit behind fucking Brett Favre for like 4 years.
That okay? I mean, like
Rodgers was going to be Rodgers.
Now
no
listen,
when
Brett Favre was on, there was nobody better.
Right.
When he was on, there was nobody better.
You don't think
and
Aaron Rodgers at his peak is not better than Brett Favre?
Absolutely. Head and shoulders. Head and shoulders.
Better than him?
Yes.
Absolutely is.
Absolutely. Head and
Aaron
shoulders.
Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers is best. He's the greatest quarterback that has ever played.
That's literally the point I was making there. Is that Aaron Rodgers got to sit behind Brett Favre and watch Brett Favre when he was great and say, let me just do that. Let me just do that. I don't have to do all the bad shit that he does.
What are you about to say? Yeah, make
shit.
Brett Favre's case real quick.
I wear Wranglers. That's all I'll say for him.
First of all, he can't complete a thought now. He's like done.
All right. Well, I mean,
he's like, shit. Oh, I was in that commercial.
Yeah. He's like, how did these pants get on me?
That guy looks like me.
I can't throw like numbers or stats at you. I'm just like,
dude, he only won one ring.
He only won one ring.
Yeah.
Let's go down the list. There's plenty of dudes who weren't as good as Brett Favre that won too.
Yeah. Okay, but when you watched Favre on Sunday, you watched greatness.
That's because they call him the gunslinger because he would shoot first and think later.
Right. He took chances.
See ball, hit ball.
He trusted he trusted his receivers more than any quarterback has ever trusted anything.
I think he just had hubris.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just like, oh,
dude, he gave his guys a chance.
Honestly,
all right, let's go back
Fuego
to the night
fuck Brett Favre.
After his father died,
fuck Brett Favre. Fuck his father too. You don't get to just. I'm about to retire. I'm not going to retire. I'm about to retire. I'm not going to retire. I'm about to retire. I'm not going to retire. To an organization who has Aaron Rodgers on the bench.
All right,
that organization.
Two other
listen. Exactly. And he sent dick pics to 50% of the trainers, but you don't, dude.
I mean, I wish I was on that trainer.
It's actual criminally underrated fact. Like nobody takes stock of this. That Aaron Rodgers' career is being fucking wasted in Green Bay.
Yeah,
he's being fucking wasted.
Green Bay would be lucky.
He has a receiver for a running back, bro. Like.
Mike McCarthy's like, no, we're just
this team out of loyalty for a geriatric, out of loyalty
for he's got a fifth-year.
He's the real guy.
Listen, out of loyalty for a geriatric, they kept letting this fucking piece of trash come back again and again,
dude,
and play
a piece of trash
to sell tickets,
dude. He's overrated, man. He's not a piece of trash. That's insane.
Look at his numbers.
He's a legend.
But
he was good on paper.
No. I had fun watching him my entire life, and I miss him being in the sport. He's good for the sport, and I'm sure there's Jets trainers who miss seeing his dick.
He completed a lot of big plays, but the amount of big plays he had to fuck up before he made that one.
If we looked it up, how many interceptions do you think he's thrown?
Like
second most all time. I'm going to go second most all time.
Has won 2
behind
Super Bowl
Peyton. I'm going to go
MVPs.
Peyton, Brett Favre for most interceptions.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Okay. Eli Manning is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP twice. He's also led the NFL in turnovers 3 times. So
Joe Flacco,
Eli Manning will never have to do anything ever because he beat Tom Brady twice.
Let's play your game really quick.
Let's play your game really quick.
Wait. No. Let's play your game really quick. Let's play Monty's game really quick.
I'm playing your game.
Listen. Joe Flacco.
I'm the one answering your fucking
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is my fantasy quarterback, by the way.
The year he...
Mistake number 1.
That was a huge mistake.
Super Bowl.
What, Torrey Smith is going to catch balls? What is he doing?
Listen.
Consistent as fuck, 19 points a game every week.
The year that Joe Flacco bet on himself and he won a Super Bowl, there was only 2 games in the NFL season where a quarterback finished with a lower QBR than Mark Sanchez. And it was Joe Flacco both times with a 0.4 and like a 0.2.
He's like a 0.6 yards per attempt.
Dude is the epitome of average and like just took the house on a contract year.
So where does Eli land then, right?
So but my point is, if you're gonna play the Eli thing, Joe Flacco is a house of cards.
What does that have to do with Eli being a 2-time Super Bowl MVP and still turning the ball over at a higher rate than Favre did?
That's my point. Dude won his only Super Bowl on a year that he won it only because Aqib Talib let somebody past him in the secondary when there was a fucking
same argument can be made so many times.
Of course it can. Of course it can. And which goes back to the point I made before. It's a team sport. We put way too much stock on the quarterback. But
and now we're back to where we started.
I'm glad I'm right, ladies and gentlemen.
Whole thing over again. We're fucking done.
My point is like we're gonna chastise column A for things that they did. But if you look at a dude like Joe Flacco, who's widely respected,
yes.
his best season ever. He had not one but 2 performances that were worse than Mark Sanchez. He had the first and second worst QBRs that year.
I feel like if he would just shave
in this
area between his nose and his forehead,
dude,
he would throw the ball better.
I swear to God,
gets in the way,
I had him in fantasy football 2 years in a fucking row and went to the Super Bowl both of those
on
seasons.
his back.
Dude, let's talk.
Did you not have guys like Le'Veon
if we're gonna make
Bell?
shaving, if we're gonna make shaving parallels to his career, let's just talk about the fact that he needs to bring back.
Bring back.
He needs to
bring foot.
Get some of that fireball, son.
He needs to bring back. I haven't had any fireballs. Rumplements. He needs to bring back the handlebar that he was running.
Handlebar?
Dude, the year that he was freaking the fuck
He looked
out,
like
he
a
grew
guy that
handlebar.
rode Harleys and also liked to.
Aaron Rodgers has done the handlebar.
Aaron Rodgers is
Aaron Rodgers
America's
can do anything he
greatest
wants.
human. Okay, if
can
you
do
date
whatever he
Olivia Munn and you're the most accurate quarterback of all time,
Hey, and
greatest
have you
fish I've
ever
ever.
seen Aaron Rodgers and Tony Reale in the same place?
no, because Tony Reale is a worm.
If there's any quarterbacks that Joe Namath that could do a nylon stockings commercial,
It's Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, when we were talking about man crushes earlier, like the mics weren't on yet.
God, Olivia
Yeah,
Munn's
we
just
were.
the best.
Before the
She's
isn't
mics
she?
not a
were on,
man, dude. That
we were
doesn't
talking about man crushes. Is Aaron Rodgers your guy?
My number one ever. My number one ever. There's Aaron Rodgers with 50 feet of space before the next one, which is Chevy Chase in his prime.
Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase. Who does the voice on Karate Dog?
2.9 rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Karate Dog.
I'm just stoked. See, he was looking at his phone the first time he spit that fact out. I'm just glad that you know the Rotten Tomatoes
Dude,
score.
you think I
of
was looking up
Karate
Rotten
Dog.
Tomatoes?
He
for
knew
Karate
the
Dog?
score of Karate Dog on our way up to Merle's.
I've been talking about Karate
Nashville.
Dog for a while.
He's been talking about
I streamed that recently, and
I had some man
I don't
crushes.
regret it.
You're talking about man crush. All right. But I had Peyton Manning and Brett Favre in my 1 and 2. But
dude,
then
Peyton is the guy.
Peyton's my guy.
He doesn't have the extra chromosome that Eli does.
But he's got the extra 5 head that Eli does
I
not.
don't know,
He's
he
got,
might.
not only does he have the 5 head, but he associated himself with a known racist
He's just so great.
in the Papa John's.
Peyton is just a fantastic dude.
You
Like,
know what, man?
yeah,
I'm
whatever,
glad.
dude. He
I'm
cashes
glad
those
I already
checks.
got a little. I'm glad I got ahead of my game on not doing the fast food thing because the Papa John's also falls into that, and I love me some Papa John's. And I just,
Have you seen the memes that say Massa John's?
no.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
postmating Papa
God.
John's here right now.
You what?
I said I postmated Papa John's. It should be here in a few minutes, actually.
You're part of the problem.
Well, whatever, man.
Racist.
Fucking trash bag.
I'm gonna eat some.
You're a
racist
bigger
ass
trash bag
pizza.
than Brett Favre, who's not a trash bag. I'm sorry I said that.
You
Brett
know,
Favre's great.
Brett
I
Favre's
apologize
good.
for
Man's
nothing.
great.
He's good if you play him Madden. By the way, I have Madden where Brett Favre was on the cover in Green Bay. Madden 09.
Did he get injured
course.
that year?
Madden 09?
And I
Oh, he got
also
injured
love,
every year, didn't he? From
But he
like,
always still played.
Oh yeah. Well, now here's a thing. I will say that Ben Roethlisberger is a garbage quarterback that
He
has
is.
played one of
What
the
do you mean he
greatest
is?
games. I will say that he is a garbage quarterback that has played one of the greatest games I've ever seen a quarterback play with a broke thumb.
Ben Roethlisberger looks like a Lego man.
Yeah, he does.
Hot takes.
I was at.
If there was a Lego man quarterback, it would definitely be Brett.
I've seen Ben
Roethlisberger.
play in front of my face. I was at a Monday night game in Washington against Pittsburgh, where neither here nor there. Washington was up 17-3 at the half. We ended up losing 30-17. Anyway,
You know, like Washington.
And no, the best part of that was that Big Ben gets injured late in the second quarter.
Comes back in the fourth quarter.
Byron Leftwich played the
God,
remainder of the game.
Where was that name the other day?
Byron
That was the
Leftwich.
one we were looking for.
We'll get back to that.
We'll circle back.
Byron Leftwich
You've Googled it since, I bet.
played the
No.
remainder of the game as starting quarterback for the Steelers that night. Me and my boy Matt Lyden, who I met at the bus stop in kindergarten when we were 5 years old, who's still my dog. Okay, he's probably watching. I actually texted him to watch. He's in San Diego. He's watching tonight. Him and I went to that game together Monday night in D.C., Pittsburgh, Washington. Byron Leftwich played the whole second half and scored 23 unanswered points against Washington. I didn't know, neither did Matt, that Ben didn't play that whole second half until
Were you just super drunk?
We saw it in the paper the next day that
what?
Byron Leftwich played the entire second half. Neither one of us knew that.
Were you just hammered?
absurdly.
Dude, I don't drink when I go to NFL
No,
games.
we got into a scuffle with some guy. Some dude like with a Pittsburgh jersey put his hand on Matt's fucking neck while we were at the game. I had to defuse the situation.
That's a very Pittsburgh story.
It was
very,
like, but it was in DC. It felt like we were in Pittsburgh
every date we played
because there were terrible towels being flown all around the stadium, and we're in Washington.
Not chop on rags.
No, there were terrible towels. All you gotta do.
We'll get to that.
Mention towels at any capacity among Braves fans, and they're gonna take it.
That's not true.
Right,
There's no
This is
Braves towels.
This is very
There
new.
really
I
aren't
just
Braves
said
towels.
terrible towels, and you guys went into the chant.
Yeah,
Because
because
I
he's
have
talk
got
about
that in front of
baseball
us.
at
That's
all.
not.
But to be fair, that's always in front of us.
In our lifetimes or right now?
My neighbors brought this back. They went to see with a series with the Dodgers. Kid's a huge Manny Machado fan, and he got a Manny Machado foul ball, and they brought me back this towel.
No, he's a Dodger
cool.
now. They got him at the deadline.
That's why Baltimore's 74 games.
Oh man, you don't remember the biggest story in baseball is in the last 5 years, probably.
The Braves could have had him, dude. They should have made a bid.
Well,
but
you know what?
Camargo.
You know what? We'll
Been a revelation.
We'll get to that before we finish the
What we supposed to
football.
circle back to something else that you said a minute ago?
Maybe I don't fucking.
What were you just talking about?
know.
Yeah, you went to a game one time
Byron
with a friend.
Leftwich and didn't realize that it was Hank Basket.
Okay, so wait. Hank Basket. That's another one, right? Did he just have the weapon? Did he have the weapon to end the world?
That's up there
You
for
have the weapon to end the war.
No,
All right,
so the other day
so
we're trying to talk
we're
about
driving
the most
and
baseball names.
we're driving and we're thinking about no, not best baseball names. We're talking about the most backup quarterback name ever.
Right.
Oh, Hank Basket.
And
that's
we
one.
got,
What's
we
the
got
most,
the quintessential
backup
career journeyman
played for
coming
9
off the
different teams
pine,
in
still
11
does
years.
well. We got what are some highlights? We got Seneca Wallace. That was a huge one.
That was a good one.
Seneca Wallace is huge.
Who did I come up
Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie
This was one of
Whitehurst, I
yours.
came up with, yeah.
What do we got? We got Shaw, but even though he was a starter for a long time, but he threw a lot of pick sixes, and then now he's remembered as a starter who sucks.
Muscle White.
Matt Castle.
Matt Castle, yeah, but still great year for the Chiefs. He went like 11 and something, yeah.
Matt Flynn.
Flynn,
great
huge
guy.
piece
Green
of
Bay.
work. Tim Hasselbeck.
Tim
That was my
Hasselbeck.
guy. That was my guy.
Yeah.
Not Tim
Also,
Hasselbeck
best
was-
haircut ever. You would
Not
just
Matt.
Google image Tim
Don't
Hasselbeck.
confuse him with
Guys,
Matt,
if you're
who
listening,
started
I
and won a lot of
was
games.
confusing Matt
if you're
Hasselbeck,
listening,
Matt
if you're
started
listening,
and won a lot
stop
of games.
everything. Stop everything. People, stop. Don't even laugh. I want this 100% microphone control for this. People, if you listen to this podcast on your own time, I need you. I don't want you, but I need you to Google image Tim Hasselbeck Giants. Because what you will see is the most ravenously important lack of hairline, but still long hair. The genetic mullet, Tim Hasselbeck.
Like worse than the Hulkster?
It's the dude. You're sitting in front of a computer.
What
Pull it
about
up.
Post Jackson?
Pull that shit up. Pull that shit up. Pull Tim Hasselbeck Giants up and tell me you've ever seen a more atrocious picture in your entire life.
Oh, my.
I've been on the deep web and seen a head cut off, and I would rather watch that
What about
100 times than look at Tim Hasselbeck play for the Giants.
Jaguars, Mark Brunell.
Still nowhere near you. Have you looked at Tim Hasselbeck for the Giants?
I'm just saying, greatest backups.
Oh yeah, backups. Yeah, no. All right, we're back on backups. Hold on, let's put a pin in that. I want to see. My guy's pulling it up right now, and we're about to see his look of disgust
Dude, you're
and horror.
holding a pint of Fireball like it's a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I've been drinking it hard too. It's a sports hour. Nothing matters. It's just hot takes flying everywhere.
Wait, when is the time where I get to go? My son's show is brought to you by Scion. Scion, what drives you?
My
Is
son's
it like
TV show.
he looks like he
Thanks
works
for
at
watching.
a
You
found it.
7-Eleven, maybe?
Dude, he looks like he chops children up into a lot of pieces.
Speaking of which, well, continue your children chopping up.
Hashtag chop on. Braves country.
Wait, no, we don't know what to do when the host leaves.
You can't see my hands.
What do I do with my hands right now?
I said you can't see my hands. And I put them out.
You can't see my hands as I hold them up with
Wait,
this
why did you
pint
do-
of Fireball. That is, dude, that's pretty terrible, man.
It's the greatest. That's the greatest.
He's like, I play professional football.
That's why you do this, my guy. Just have some class. You know what I mean? Shave that boy.
Oh man, you know who I just thought about?
Shave that boy.
Fucking Brian McCann.
I was gonna say
I
Jay
missed that
Buhner.
motherfucker.
/ Evan Gaddis.
Brett Boone.
Evan Gaddis.
You were talking about man. All right, we talking about man crushes a while ago. I was gonna say my boy
El Oso
Evan
Blanco.
Gaddis.
Huge piece
El Oso Blanco. Listen,
Huge piece of the man crush.
You
bro.
guys didn't
Listen.
even hear my Jay Buhner or Brett Boone fucking
Wait,
reference.
wait.
That shit.
Let's. He's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
He's right.
sorry.
He's right. Let's
You're
put
right.
it in this
You're
and
right.
circle back to.
No.
You're right.
I was talking about motherfucking bald ass motherfuckers.
Let's
Dude,
circle
Brett
back.
Boone. You look like Brett Boone let himself go a little bit.
No. Let's let himself down.
Go.
You wait. This is an oldie, but
I
good.
look like Jim James
You
let
look-
himself go a
wait,
little
wait.
bit.
No, you look like Jim James now.
Monty looks like Bruno Mars had sex with the cast of Goodfellas.
To be fair,
Wait.
he
I
came
I
up with
can make
that,
that
like
topical.
a year ago.
Or
I can make that topical.
Bronx Tale.
I can make that topical. And an iguana.
He came up with that a long time ago, and then he was super upset.
I kind of forgot
now.
I said it, and I heard it later. I was like, "Yo, who said that shit?"
When you smile.
Anyway,
The whole world.
no. Let's circle back. Best backup quarterback. We got Seneca Wallace. We got Charlie Whitehurst.
Best backup quarterback.
Trent Green.
Tim motherfucking Tebow.
No, dude, get
Dude,
the
he came in
fuck
the league.
out of here, bro.
He
fuck Tim
beat the
Tebow.
Steelers.
He won a playoff game. That's a fact.
Dude, he
is a
winner.
human trash.
He is a winner.
He is a
We were
bag
talking about man crushes
garbage.
earlier, and I mentioned Favre and Manning. Okay, what I didn't get
Don't
to.
put that in there.
Dude,
Oh, I respect. I love you as a person. I don't want you to say what you're about to say.
Dude,
God, he
what's not
sucks.
to like about him?
Literally
Why?
everything is
Why?
not to like about him because
Why?
you should
because
leave.
he loves God and puts family first.
Yeah,
and
because
wins
I don't.
games.
Yes,
and
yes,
just a shooter
exactly. Because I don't attach morality to art
Because
or
he
Yeah,
sports.
I-
Every
I
thing
don't
that
wanna
all of
see
us strive and hope to be,
religious
but can't.
exhibit when you scramble because you can't throw because he scored
Yeah.
comically low on the Wonder Leg. Do you understand that his release, like here's
you listen to
Aaron
him talk?
Rodgers. Listen. Aaron Rodgers' release takes 0.2 seconds.
Craig's not even a little gay, but he would swallow Rodgers'
0.
babies.
Oh, dude, I would let him just.
Absolutely. If
At least you
Rodgers
can
had
admit it.
2-bit dicks,
100%.
he'd-
Oh yeah, listen. Why are you being like that? Listen, Aaron Rodgers' release
I'm
takes
trying to push
0.
the envelope. Let's get some viewers.
Aaron Rodgers
We're
takes
doing it.
0.2 seconds for his release. Tim Tebow takes 0.6. That means after and he scored comically low on the Wonder Leg, which is not that hard of a test.
The
I've,
more
ta-
Craig
I've
shakes
taken it.
his right
I've
finger,
taken
the
it.
more he
I've
needs
taken the Wonder Leg. It's not that fucking hard. Which means that after he makes an inferior decision,
Did he win though?
Tim Tebow takes a super long time to
But
get
did he
rid of the
win?
ball.
But did he win?
Yeah, for one of the greatest teams
And
ever.
is he true to him?
No. Let
always?
me ask you this: are you not forever bringing up Trent Dilfer?
Yeah.
Why do you bring
he
up?
make
Trent?
any
No.
plays?
Yes or no. Yes or no.
Tebow
yes
made
or no.
plays.
Yes or no. Do you always bring up Trent Dilfer?
As
Just
in-
yes
in
or no.
reference
Period.
to
Yes or
what?
no. Quarterbacks. Well, the only reason you fucking bring up Trent Dilfer. Why do you bring up Trent Dilfer?
Trent
He
Dilfer
surrounded
sounds like
himself
the
with
name of a
parts
bomb.
of a whole that were better than he was.
Exactly.
And he performed
It's a
in way
team
that just
sport, and the
didn't fuck it
dude
up.
was just
Tebow
adequate.
made plays.
No, Tim Tebow
He made
happened to
plays.
be the dude who didn't throw
He
that
made
many
plays.
interceptions.
He got 3 yards when he needed
Which
to.
is a huge
ask you
deal.
This. Let me ask you this: He walked
in this
on.
day
He
and
walked
age.
onto the fucking
Toughed it out.
New England squad, and he got cut. Same with the Jets. He was a backup behind Sanchez after the butt fumble.
Yeah.
Got cut.
I don't
Why-
see how
if the
Sanchez
dude
could
is-
start
if the
over
dude-
anybody
If
else.
the dude is so good,
I'm
why
not
is
saying he's
why
good.
is Mark Sanchez starting in front of you, dog?
That's
I'm not saying
Dead
he's
ass.
that's
good.
what I'm saying.
Why
is how
is Mark
Sanchez
Mark-
get starting in front of
the
anybody?
Sanchez gets the call before you because you can't throw the fucking football,
Do you
man.
think
It's
that
not
I
the
love him
NCAA.
because he's good at football?
No, I don't want to think about why you
listen.
love him.
I love Tebow for everything that he's about.
And by the way,
hate
I
him
was
for
just
everything he's
naming Tim
about.
Tebow as in being a backup quarterback, but I will say this: he beat fucking Alabama, and then
And
we
the-
Ben
and
worked
Pittsburgh.
him,
Roethlisberger
And
in the
Pittsburgh.
playoffs.
and then we worked him the next year and watched him cry, as I knelt on the fucking bar doing a T-bow. I T-bowed on the bar.
Fuck Tim. Anyway, dude, let's give this
chastise him. By
let's
the way,
give this 30 more seconds.
Everybody else
Does anybody have any more hilarious backup quarterback names? Schaub, Trent Green, Matt Castle, Seneca Wallace. My guy, Tim over here.
Tim Hassel, dude, that's just like he looks like he.
Wait,
he looks like he just woke
kind
up.
of looks like me.
Who was the super fat guy that backed up Eli for a couple of years and was so huge?
Vince Wilfork.
No, you know what I'm talking about.
Ha Clinton Dix.
He's just wanted to say that name.
I know, that was just, I was trying to think of huge people. Terrence Cody. See, they're all Alabama players. They just.
Wait, did we just find the Achilles heel? Is that your scope of the NFL? Is just people who happen to play college at Alabama? Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's
I know there's some names we're missing, man. Like who's
I don't watch NFL much, man. I play fantasy. My favorite team is my fantasy team.
That's why I took 4 seasons.
Dude, that sucks.
I
Falcons over
played
fantasy all day
for about
long.
8 years, man, and I took the last 4 seasons. And
I did have Ryan and Julio last year, and somebody fucking took Ryan from me this year. I still got Julio though.
I had to back off because I didn't want to watch games on Sunday.
Underwhelming, by the way.
And yell for who they should be.
And I hope your team wins, but Mason Crosby kicks 3.
Right. Hey, I want the Redskins to win this game, but I hope Mason Crosby hits 7.
Mason Crosby sounds like a backup fucking quarterback.
It is a backup quarterback.
Mason Crosby sounds like the
that's
kid
a great
that
segue.
made fun of you at the yacht club when you were growing up.
No, that's a great segue. Most baseball sounding names.
The most baseball sounding names.
I already got
we have we knocked out a couple on the call.
So look,
Johnny Unitas.
If you didn't,
Johnny Unitas didn't play baseball. Huge baseball sounding name.
Johnny Unitas.
He didn't have to play baseball. It just has a baseball sounding name.
Yeah.
If you didn't listen to the previous
Wes Welker.
If you didn't listen to the previous podcast that we did, what you didn't know is that Craig and I spend a shit ton of time on the road together. So we play a lot of games. One of the games that we played recently is most baseball sounding names of all time, and we've come up with
we got a couple weapons to end the war. We've got we really might
Pop Warner.
That's pretty good.
Dude, let's keep
He's
it
shaking his head
among
like,
baseball players, though. You can't just pick names that, baseball players who have the most baseball sounding name.
Baseball players who have the most I thought we were going interchanging sports.
These guys have played baseball.
Oh, okay.
And they just have a sound of their name that means, even if you heard it, you'd be like,
Jason Giambi, that's a professional baseball player.
I'm saving.
I mean, the most is Joe DiMaggio. It's a
huge one. It's up there.
Ted Williams.
Mickey Mantle.
Ted Williams.
Yogi Berra's gotta be.
Yogi.
Dude, I think what we're landing on recently is 2 syllables first name.
Yes.
3 syllables second name.
Okay. Yogi. I'm going 1 syllable, 2 syllables with my guy, with my I'm saving my ace of spade for later.
Bo Jackson.
No, that's a great one. Bo Jackson could have been anything though. He could have been the greatest boxer.
Bo Jackson might have been a politician. Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, but if Bo Jackson decided he wanted to box, he'd probably be the greatest
Bo Jackson, representative of Alabama.
Dude, is your scope of sports only through the prism of Alabama?
Hold on.
No, but I just know the most about that. And if you
just said senator from Alabama, which reminded me, you and I played a gig.
You didn't play for Jeff Sessions, did you?
With a Mississippi senior senator from the state of Mississippi.
Oh, we had to learn an incredibly complex song.
What's his name? Hickson?
On our only break.
Wixon, something?
They're like, y'all want to learn this?
The senator, we're at a...
We had to learn Dixie Down.
And
the alma mater?
No, that's just Dixie. And that's Ole Miss.
What we play? Virtual Kane is my name, and I served on the Danville train.
Yeah. Dixie Down.
Yeah, we did that. The night they burned out Dixie Down, we played that with...
that's a great song to know, by the way.
The senior senator.
It's a super complex song to learn on the fly, though.
Yeah,
who has been in the United States Senate for the last 37 years. He served as a United States senator for the last 40 fucking years. He sang, and we finished that song with my arm around him and his arm around me.
He'll never miss a chance to glow.
The night they burned our Dixie, it was awesome.
That has nothing to do with what we were talking about.
He said senator, and that was where I went with it.
We're
That was a
talking
nice
about
thought.
baseball names.
All right. Okay, I'm not.
Baseball names. I mean, Josh Gibson.
Pretty good too.
I know you got something deeper than that.
Satchel
Man.
Paige.
That's huge. Satchel
Nolan
Paige.
Ryan.
Nolan Ryan, yeah.
Nolan
absolutely.
Ryan's big.
Big baseball name.
I got one though.
I mean, Chipper Jones, my boy.
Chipper.
My
I
boy.
can't even believe
But he could be a golfer.
I didn't
too.
bring no. Yeah,
My
but
boy.
how did I
Nah,
not
but
bring
Chipper
that up?
Jones is
It's a great
If
baseball
you didn't
name.
know anything about the name,
greatest
Chipper
baseball
Jones
name.
is
You
a
say that
huge baseball name.
to never mind.
Yeah, I don't know where you're about to go, but like I
To
saw your
somebody
posture.
who's never fucked with American baseball, if you say the name Chipper Jones, they could be a baseball player just as easily. They could be a golfer or a tennis player or something else.
Yeah, but those sports are just dumb compared to baseball.
All right,
Baseball is
I'm
a
going to
great
put
sport.
my cards on the table right
Let's
now.
go.
And just
Baseball is my
actually-
favorite
Let's hear 'em.
sport.
Chuck Knobloch.
Huge.
Chuck Knobloch,
Huge.
yeah, I
It's
I'll
a
give you
great
that.
baseball name.
Chuck Knobloch
Mel Ott.
is a baseball name.
Hey, what?
Mel Ott?
Mel Ott.
All right. What's the other one I had? Carlton Fisk.
Ooh, there you go.
Dude,
Pudge.
All right.
Okay.
No,
we'll
that's
start-
Rodriguez.
No,
He
Pudge
the original
was-
Pudge. You're right.
We'll
Carlton was
start.
the
We'll
original
start
Pudge.
recent. Reese Hoskins.
Reese Hoskins.
Are you shitting me? That's such a baseball name.
What was your guy, Homer something?
Dude, oh wait.
Ian
Save the big
Kinsler.
guns. Save the big guns.
Ian Kinsler.
Don Mattingly sounds like you play baseball.
Yeah, but fuck him.
Yeah.
Seriously, fuck him, but for a lot of reasons. We're
getting
about
to
to get
that.
into that. We're
Press
about to get
pause
into
on
that.
this?
No, you can just go piss, which is what you need to do.
I mean, we're
All right.
rolling.
All right, dude.
We're in
so
it, man.
here it goes. Here it goes. Are you ready for the baseball name, the weapon to end the war?
Go ahead.
Homer Bailey.
Homer Bailey isn't bad.
Is it? Are you shitting me? That's the absolute wrong response.
I mean, Homer, I get it.
His first name is
When
Homer.
you say Homer, I think
The
of
only
Homer
thing
that hangs out with the band.
The only
Homer,
thing
Homer.
that sucks about that name is, isn't he a pitcher?
Yeah, I think he is.
That sucks, dude. Your name can't be Homer if you're a pitcher.
I mean, don't give Vin Scully that information.
Vin Scully would make
And
a
Homer
two-
giving away a homer and a pair of them this evening.
Yeah, Vin Scully would make 2 innings out of that guy's name.
Oh, for sure. And
You
it's
see,
just
there's
his
not a
birthday,
lot of
you
people who
give him
could
that
do
much
that anymore. I will say this. I think we are much more blessed than every other franchise in baseball in Atlanta to have Chip Carey
Dude,
and fucking Joe
Chip,
Simpson.
he really is fucking great. Joe,
You
I
don't know
think,
that
is a
till you
little
listen to other
bit
ones.
of a complainer.
Yeah,
I
but
get tired
he
of
gets
Joe's
us in trouble a
bullshit.
lot.
I get tired of Joe's bullshit. Like Glavin is amazing, and
Nobody's better than Smoltzy.
He's up there. Oh, dude, Smoltz is great. Either one of those.
John
dudes,
Smoltz.
Either one. Dude,
That's a great
huge
example, though.
baseball name.
But wait.
Greg Maddox.
Can I
I have a
circle back
Maddox
to what
jersey.
we talked
I have
about?
a
I wanna-
Hank
I wanna hear
Aaron.
that shit.
Hank Aaron. I have a Hank Aaron jersey right there.
Another huge name. But
We're
are we
talking
just
about
saying that because we're
commentators,
being homers?
right?
Homer Baileys?
And you said guys like Phil Simms and Jim Kelly and Troy Aikman. Like
We're
the
gonna
game
do
has
football
changed.
names now?
So, right.
Bill Buckler.
The game has changed
Buckner.
to a point.
Buckner.
Evolved to a point where the things that they say are only viewed through the prism of what they see from what
Yeah.
they played, right? Which is why you don't appreciate them as much as some other guys. John Smoltz, you just alluded to as being really, really good at it. But he played, right, at his peak in his era. He was at the same time of the guys that you hate
Yeah, but
doing football, but he was the
no,
same guy.
no.
doing baseball. So how is it different?
It's hugely different. I'll tell
Right.
you, it's hugely different.
I'm not saying
No.
I just want.
And I will explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. The NBA, and the NFL are so good in monopolizing on changes in market, changes on the ability to sell. The NFL, every time you turn around in the offseason, is changing the PAT. They're changing kickoff. They're changing things all the time.
All in the name of safety.
In the name of safety, but also in the name of like making things more
Lucrative.
offensive centric, which sells tickets.
Yes,
Like
it's all about money.
If you look, we're talking about Dan Marino. When Dan Marino's throwing to his receivers, they have people going through their pockets.
But
When they're trying to no.
Why
But
is
but
John
now
Smoltz
but now
still
I'm about
such
to
a
tell you.
good
I'm about to tell you.
commentary
I'm
and
about to
Jim
tell you.
Kelly's
I'm
not?
about to tell you. When Dan Marino's throwing to his receivers have people going through their pockets, When Drew Brees is throwing to his receivers, if somebody breathes on him wrong, it's a flag. And the reason is offense sells tickets.
Yep.
The NBA and the NFL consistently change their rules to make the product sellable right now to this attention span.
And MLB has not.
And MLB is different, and it stems from statistics. MLB, Major League Baseball, is the only sport, period, where everyone, that's a team sport, where everyone has to play the same position. It doesn't matter what you do defensively. You only bat one way.
Yep.
You only bat one way, which gives this hugely unifying metric through which to measure everybody who's stepping to the plate.
Yeah.
And so today, when we have Mookie Betts stepping up to the plate.
Mookie Betts.
A huge baseball name. When we have Mookie Betts stepping to the plate.
No,
listen. Dude, I'm about to make a point.
No,
When we have Mookie Betts stepping to the plate, it's exactly the same as him stepping as Babe Ruth stepping to the plate.
Yep.
We can put him against
It's still
the
90 feet.
exact same fucking metrics. We can put him in the exact same metrics. And baseball is stuck in its own histrionics. And part of its refusal to change is why fewer and fewer people view it. But it's also why we can look at dudes like John Smoltz and be like, you're great at calling this because the game objectively changed less since you played.
Right, throw a guy change up, throw a
There
guy
is
cutter,
basically
throw a
the
guy
same,
spinner.
other than maybe the
It's the same
goes
game.
behind
John
it.
Smoltz played the same fucking game
Yes.
as Mookie Betts. Brett Favre did not play
The
the
same
same
strike
game as
zone.
Tony Romo at the end of his career.
True
That's
story.
just a fact, dude.
No,
You got the same.
That's
You
why I
got the
was
same.
interested.
That's
I'm
why
glad that I asked
baseball
you the
is.
question.
Boom! Dropping bombs on
Bye-bye.
toes.
That's
this
why
guy.
baseball is the greatest game. That's why baseball is the greatest game. There's no.
It's a great game.
It's the greatest. I'm full in on baseball. I
The-
will take.
the older I
I will
get-
take
I'm feeling
baseball
on
over
NHL,
football.
but nobody
The
wants to hear that.
older I
I'll
get,
take
the
baseball over
older I
football.
get,
Nobody
the
wants to
more
hear
I'm
it taken
coming
on
around.
NHL.
The older I get, the more I'm coming around to what you're saying. But I was raised in a huge football family, so
So was I, man. I mean,
so look, NHL is wildly unpopular when it comes to like anybody who's viewing things about what people are talking about.
I
or
just don't
writing
care
about.
about hockey,
Right.
man.
So,
I
but
just-
I'm only going to make one point on it, and it's twofold. It's that it never quits. Right. It's action all the time, and a goal can come out of nowhere, and a team can be dominating the offensive pace of play, and the other team can come back and score a goal without you even seeing it coming. Two, if two guys got a beef, then those two guys got a beef, and they're gonna settle it, and then they're gonna sit down for 5 minutes in timeout.
I
and
do
think
like
about
that
it,
for
And
hockey.
then they're back, and they can still play in the same game. And if you even think about throwing a punch in any other sport, you're out for that game, and you're probably suspended, and you're probably fined. In hockey, you can hit a dude in the face 8 times, sit down for 5 minutes, and then get back in that game, and no one else is getting involved.
I do
Okay?
love
So the
watching
reason
those
you like
toothless
hockey is
fuckers
No one else is
grin.
getting involved.
Neanderthal.
All I'm saying
He's
is
a
if you're-
Neanderthal, that's
I
why he
love
likes
if you're
watching
a
those
grown
toothless
man
fuckers
and
grin at
you
each
got
other.
beef with another grown man, and you're like whatever you're doing, and you're shit. Right, those two guys settle it, and everybody else gets out of the way. The benches don't clear. Nobody does anything. If someone throws a punch, someone leaves their area. It's not a big deal. Like it's those two dudes settle it.
Here's
and
the
when
thing,
they're
though.
done settling it,
No. We
the
talked
teams
about this
with two
earlier. We
playing,
talked
they
about this
go
earlier.
and they can get back in and play it.
Here's the thing,
and it's
though.
just nonstop. I think that's
When
just-
two people
that's
fight
a
in
thing
hockey,
that appeals.
when two people fight in hockey, both of them have 4 teammates on the ice.
Yeah.
That if it gets like unwieldy,
5.
it's 6 people per team.
Yeah, with 5 skaters and a goalie.
Okay, I didn't count the goalie, I guess.
It's all right. That just shows how little. I mean, you love sports, but you still don't.
Yeah,
know.
no, yeah, I don't
Hockey.
watch that
We
much
didn't, I
hockey.
didn't have. We
watch
didn't have
till I
hockey
moved to
teams
Nashville.
here.
No, I'm not
There's
saying
not. There's
you.
not an
That shows
Alabama
how
or a
little
Georgia
I
That's
hockey
the
team.
No, he couldn't miss an
general
opportunity to say
consensus
that.
of America.
It is. But there's still, you have equivalent numbers on the ice when shit's popping off.
And those rules are basically the same as well.
No, but the reason that the bench is clear in baseball is because there's one dude and he's fucking surrounded by the enemy.
Yeah.
If it's time to throw
punches
punches.
the mound, which is his decision.
No, Doc, anytime there's an altercation, it doesn't
Then
matter.
get out of the way. It doesn't matter how
You're
close
in the
you
middle of
are.
the altercation and you're surrounded by people on the other team. And that's why
Yes.
that dude's dugout, the offensive team's dugout, has to clear, is because you're
No,
just on
you
an
don't have
island.
to.
You're on an island.
So why does it happen in NBA? No, because you
You
just
have
back
to.
up, let them settle it. Get out of the way. No one
Well, because you want to show your guy that you're there. That's the beauty about baseball. That's why your manager comes out.
You're not there for your guy in hockey?
Yes, but in hockey you have to be.
You're there. You're missing the point.
You have to be anyway.
You're missing the point. You're there, but the opposing team has just as many people there.
So back up and don't get involved. I don't care whether you're on the field or in the dugout.
You don't know who's about to get involved.
Well, yeah, you don't know. You don't want to leave your guy on the field with 9 other people, with your guy alone. You want to stand up out of the dugout and say, "Hey, I got your back, bro.
Right.
Like we're with you." But you also want to show the other 9 guys that are on the field, listen,
then it becomes
we're not going to let
40
this.
dudes out there in a scrum because 2 grown men had an issue, and now all of a sudden we're Sturgis on a Saturday night at a motorcycle rally with 2. Get out of here, dude.
Wait, that was such a weird reference.
First off, in baseball, it's mostly just people holding people back. Yeah, that's all it is. Like there's maybe like four punches thrown a season. It's mostly just people just holding each other back and screaming at each other.
I was making one
Unless
point
you play for the
I
Astros.
love hockey because it's constant, it's constant
somebody.
action that doesn't fucking let up. And
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. When
your phone didn't just go off, by the way, that was me.
Here's the thing. In hockey, or soccer or whatever, anything that doesn't have a play clock, doesn't reset its pieces, doesn't have this like constantly changing strategy. Yeah, there's a lack. There just is a little less strategy that you can have. Where in football, like whatever happens for 7 seconds happens, and then we all reset our pieces.
You watched an entire hockey game from end to end.
I've never watched one in my life.
Playoffs the last 2 years.
Okay, so what do you really believe as far as your
Dude, I'm talking about the inherent nature. Like this is true for soccer too.
You can't speak on the strategy of
so
NHL
you think what you're actually telling me is you think you have the same capacity for strategy as you do for strategy as you do. I was going to skip over it.
There's so many things that you're not considering that because you don't know to consider them.
No, and that's fine. I'm asking you a question, yes or no. You're asserting that sports like soccer and hockey that have moving
I didn't say anything about soccer.
They're practically the same thing, aren't they?
They have movie play.
They're not.
Yeah, one has swords and sticks. And the swords are on their feet, and that's crazy.
One has 22 guys on a fucking field that's 120 yards by 70 yards.
Listen.
Yeah, one has
no. You asked a question.
Yeah, you can't.
When the play never stops. You absolutely can't make the argument.
It doesn't ever stop,
dude.
That makes it more difficult to strategize.
Exactly, it makes it difficult. Which speaker? Are you gonna interrupt me or are you gonna let me speak?
Both.
Heyo.
When the play never stops, you're gonna sit here and actually tell me that you have the same opportunity for strategy as if you reset your pieces every single play.
You do reset your pieces a lot of times, and when there's offsides, when there's a penalty, when
I understand that there's substitutions. I understand there's substitutions, but you don't call a specific play, see if it works.
Yes, you do.
Then, dude, it's constantly moving.
Right, and there's plays that you call in hockey.
So there's a way to anticipate everything that is going to occur.
When the puck is in a certain position.
Yeah. If you play hockey, you see the future, is what he's saying.
What I'm saying
that's what I'm wondering is like
when a team finds itself in a certain situation, they know to go into one of a couple different modes.
What I'm talking about is fucking facts. What I'm talking about is an actual fact.
But you're not a student of hockey. You're a student of football.
If the play stops every single time, and you get a chance to make substitutions every single time, you get a chance to reset your pieces every single time. You are afforded an element of strategy that actually another sport where you're just going isn't capable of.
Isn't that more?
That's actually a fact.
Isn't that more? Isn't there another piece of that you're forced to implicate as much strategy? You're in a professional sports level. Do you think they're just out there kicking around the puck, willy fucking nilly?
I will tell you this: as somebody who doesn't watch hockey, that's what it looks like to me.
Your father has said the same thing. Your father has said the same thing.
Because
your father has said the same thing.
You study baseball and you study football and you grew up learning it and knowing about it. then you understand facets of the game that a novice who doesn't really make a habit of really paying attention to it doesn't understand. Like, go to somebody who loves cricket and rugby, and they watch American football, and they're like, well, I don't understand. You give the ball to the guy, and then you run 3 yards, you fall down, and then you do it again.
No, dude, what you're talking about is a difference. I'm talking about the fact that the objective truth is...
I let you finish. Let me finish. All I'm saying is that when you have...
You kind of didn't.
Right. You can reset your pieces, and there's a lot of strategy involved in all of those things. In hockey, in a sports like it, when you don't have the opportunity to stop for a second, assess what is going on, and then make adjustments, you're having to make them right now on the fly while the game is happening, which is who's on the ice for the other team. Who's on the ice for the other team? Who would I like on the ice for my team to combat that? What are they good at? Are they good at shooting? What are they good at? Are they good at dumping and chasing? Are they good at putting the puck into the zone all together as one unit? Because what I'm saying is, if you don't make a habit of actually watching and learning the strategy end of the game, then how can you really assess and comment on what is or what isn't involved in it if you don't really know?
The flaw in my argument that you're finding is I don't watch a ton of hockey. But what I'm talking about isn't hockey based. It's based on clock. What I'm saying is...
You have to do it
dude, yeah, exactly. Since it has to happen right now, would you not agree the level of complexity to the strategy inherently can't be as much?
It's got to be even harder.
Now, see, we're just,
also,
we're not
I
agree
will
on this.
say that if you look at the field, yes, it's a different size. Soccer and hockey are basically the same thing outside looking in. Outside looking in, you look at the...
You have 22 guys.
But hear me out. You have a team who are putting one thing from one side of a field or a rink to another side.
Kelsey, I'm not
from
saying
outside looking in.
Yeah, but by that,
this is the same thing to
by
me.
that, like
that looks
basketball
very
is the
similar.
same.
When your team takes control of the ball in soccer, you can take a labored amount of time in order to get yourself.
Could you not do that in hockey?
No, not really. You have not by very minuscule time. You're forced.
No, yeah, he's right.
There's no like burning the clock. There's no like burning the clock that you can do in hockey.
Well, you can sit behind the net and set it up, but you have to go. Like you got to go forward.
Is there a penalty if you don't go?
Yeah, the other team will beat your ass.
I mean, but what I'm asking is it a penalty if you don't go? Like, could you sit there and literally like burn the clock?
No, because it's never been a problem. It's never been an issue. In the 119 years that hockey's existed, there's never been a problem with somebody taking their time.
So basically, if you're listening, hockey is the best.
Which is hockey with dogs.
It's hockey. It's it's dog racing. Dog racing is the best sport, followed closely by hockey, and then there's 50 feet of space, and then there's
Iditarod, Stanley Cup, World Series, Super Bowl.
You're insane. God damn it. That's what I was about to say, but you're actually insane.
Yeah, I watch hockey every year for Stanley Cup. Every year for Stanley Cup. I went to a lot of PD Pride games when I lived in around Florence.
Capitals won the Stanley Cup, the last one.
I was in the car.
I grew up in the D.C. area.
Was that who's
the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup? I grew up in the D.C. area. My dad.
We were coming back from a show
in Birmingham, Alabama.
Roll Tide.
And football. And
this is a good 30-second story about it.
We were nothing's 30 seconds. We were on the way back from a show, and it was it game 7?
5.
Game 5. It was a closeout game for the Caps, and the entire show he had the thing on his phone.
I had my phone balanced on my keyboard against the mic stand, so I could watch the game and lead the band and like do the show at the same time.
On the way back, they won.
We were packing up in the intermission between second and third period.
And your man's was crying into his hat, like it was a religious.
But you won the Stanley Cup, and I didn't say anything. Like I was watching in the back seat, just on my phone.
That's a beautiful experience.
Absolutely.
If we ever get a World Series, I will cry my eyeballs out.
100%. The Braves win, the Falcons win.
Well,
I will be pulling a Bill fucking Murray all over this world.
I have to preface it with this though, like my earliest memories of being alive in this world are of my father taking me to Capitals games. We had season tickets when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. My dad and I went to all the home games.
Why would he expose you to this horrible game so early?
My dad.
He would wait till you're an adult and then teach you the stupid
loved
game.
hockey, and he played. And my dad played. My dad was a vice president of a bank in D.C., and the bank had to hook up for tickets because they were sponsoring the team. And we went to all the games. And before I can even remember, he was taking me to games. Before I even remember going with him.
And this is what I didn't know.
And
on the
we've
way
never
back.
won. Like we've never won. The Caps have been to the playoffs. Excuse me. They've been a franchise for 49 years, including this season, and they've been to the playoffs 23 times out of 49 times, and 21 out of those 23 times they've lost in the second round or before. So 2 times they've made it out of the second round. In my whole life, I've never known them to do anything but let me down, and this year they did it.
I'm really glad for that guy with the couple teeth and that can't put sentences together. One.
Alexander Ovechkin.
There you go.
He's also
He's the
I was
greatest
really
champion
stoked
to
for
ever win
him.
anything.
Ovechkin is actually
really
still
stoked for
drunk.
him.
He's still drunk from
He
the
still
night
has the
they
cup.
won.
There's several articles of things listed that what Alexander Ovechkin has done with the Stanley Cup since winning it, and the list is phenomenal.
Child
One
porn
thing
is
is
on it.
take it down to the Inner Harbor in Annapolis outside of Baltimore and do keg stands outside of a bar into the deal. But the point is, man, like Caps winning it for me when they did it, like that was the pinnacle.
I can understand
in
that.
the car,
of
in the
my
car,
deal. Like I was
in the car,
sobbing into my
there was
hat,
there was a
man, like-
criminal underappreciation for the fact that was like his favorite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was
That's the
like, I
Braves
was like,
winning the World Series
I
for
was,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I in my head, I was like, well, the hockey team won, but I thought he was like Redskins fan, Nationals fan, and then maybe a Caps fan.
No, you gotta
I didn't know.
Yeah, we rank it how we would rank it.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know that it was totally backwards. And so on the way back, I was like, yeah, I'm in the Caps. And then I was like, only in retrospect have I like learned the seriousness of the situation. Like
I will
his
say
father
this.
showed up to one of the shows we played this week in a national champion Caps jersey.
Caps Stanley Cup champions, like 2018. Look, I'll put it this way: when after we won the cup, and I talked to my dad later that night, like, all right, we stopped at a gas station. I got a 12-pack of Modelo and cracked 2 of them at the same time, and we're just standing outside. The Caps had just won.
Do that again?
And I just no. I was just
You guys
You
come
were
here
sucking.
often?
yeah, both of them.
He was
You guys
fucking-
come here often?
And
I
then
was
I
like,
get
Monty,
back-
find some gas money. He was like, I got you.
I get back to see my dad, and my dad picks me up at the airport. I had a gig, actually went from Birmingham, and then I had to jump in a van and go to Pennsylvania, neither here nor there. Flew from Pennsylvania down here to meet Craig for some shows, and my dad picks me at the airport, and he didn't have to get out of the car, but he put the car parked in a place where he shouldn't have, like, not allowed to do that. And we hugged and we cried a little bit, and he was just like, we won, man. Like, we won. And later that night, I'm back in my old room at my mom and dad's house, and dad took some of the crystal. You know, like when your parents have some shit, like you're not supposed to touch this shit. That's the thing that you don't fuck with. You don't touch this. You leave this alone. This is your grandma's stuff. This came from heaven. The queen used this. You don't belong touching this. He came in with some Grand Marnier and some like little tiny crystal shot glasses, and he gave me one. And he said, "We fucking won." And we both took a little shot of grandma, and we hugged it out, and we cried a little bit. And that was a beautiful moment. Like, so much of my relationship with how important my dad is to me started with sharing Capitals games with him.
So Braves baseball.
Well,
I'm gonna go.
No, I will say this.
That's all I got to say.
No,
all
I
I
will
got to
say
say. I'm
this.
done for the rest of
one
the
thing
night.
about hockey and hockey fans is you can tell just by the last 10 to 15 minutes of this talk how passionate hockey fans are about the sport. And there's honor in that, I think. I still just don't get it. And it looks the same to me
Because
as
you
the
haven't
other
tried
sports.
to get
Dude,
it.
here's
Well,
the thing. Here's the thing that
when
happens
Carolina
with
got
Preds
the
fans.
Hurricanes, I tried. Especially-
dude, same with Atlanta and the Thrashers.
I tried.
Dude, here's the thing though that the Preds have like caught traction on.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
and
got-
Nashville's a whole
They
different
got
animal,
good.
man.
Nashville's a hockey town more than it's a football town. Like they have the Titans.
It's a
and
hockey town more
nobody
than
gives
it's a music town.
Fuck about the
The
Titans.
Titans, yeah.
What I've noticed when it comes to hockey is there's other, like you read, you get on subreddits or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see other teams just be like, what is wrong with these animals when it comes to the Preds fans? And what's happening is it's such a northern sport that they don't understand Southern culture. And people approach the Predators with the same fervor that the rest of the South approaches SEC football.
Because you got all these people that come from other cities.
Well, dude, it's not even just, but like, it's just in the South, and they approach it with this, like, Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama football. Like, they approach it with this SEC football mentality. Yeah. And when you inject that into fucking hockey, people are like, those people are out of their fucking minds. And it's not that they're out of their minds.
It's just that's how we learned how to do that.
Southern. They're just Southern, and there's this Southern element in hockey.
And they've never loved hockey before, but now they have a team in a city they live in that's super good.
But the rest of the league is like, these people are animals.
Dude, they said there was 400,000 people
downtown
that gathered downtown for the Preds games to watch it on the big screen that couldn't go.
That's unheard of in the South.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's just unheard of. Nashville in Charlotte, they even make fun that Charlotte is for the fan, just the hockey fans who live in the area, so they get to see their team at least once a year.
Right. Yeah.
That's what Charlotte's
it's like if
for.
you're a Hawks fan and you want to see Golden State.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like I said, I tried. I watched it.
No, it's not.
By the way, I just want to take inventory here.
Even, as a sports fan, I would implore anybody who doesn't know shit about it, just when the Stanley Cup playoffs roll around. When the Stanley Cup playoffs roll around, just watch it in its entirety from the first period to the last.
I'll say this.
Watch every year.
My father is the most
tell me it's not fucking riveting.
I watch the Stanley Cup every year.
My father.
I watch it every year. I really do.
Tell me you're not entertained.
Dude, my father
it's fun
is
to watch
the most
them fight.
Redneck hickey
There's not a lot of fighting in the
motherfucker.
Stanley Cup playoffs.
Listen, my father's the most redneck hickey motherfucker out there.
There's barely any fighting in the playoffs.
If you listen to him speak, he sounds as Georgian as it gets. Dude was born in College Park, Maryland, on campus.
It's 30 minutes from where I
was raised in Rochester, New York, and is a huge hockey fan. And so when I was a kid, you weren't allowed to not watch the Stanley Cup playoffs. We watched it every single fucking year.
If
I watch the playoffs every year.
Entertaining as any other postseason sport, then I don't know.
No, dude,
how you process sports
I don't love
do.
hockey, but I have always watched the Stanley
Cup.
Oh
yeah, I could give two fucks about hockey, but I watch the playoffs every year.
To me, I mean, dude,
I watch the playoffs of anything
it's
every year.
So rough and it's so hard and it's so tough, and these guys.
Wait, are we still talking about the same thing?
Yeah, no, I thought we were talking.
About porn.
I thought we were talking about gay porn now.
I mean, see, now you're going into it. You're doing it to yourself.
Oh wait, we're still on hockey. Okay, yeah. There's nothing so tough, so hard, so fast-paced. Really, no. Just watch a hockey game, man. Watch a playoff hockey game, and tell me you're not entertained. Watch it the whole way through, and tell me that it's not. The NBA playoffs go at the same time, and if you want to tell me that the NBA playoffs are as entertaining as NHL playoffs, I think we're watching two different things.
You also criminally underappreciate the NBA religiously.
Okay.
You always do. But anyway,
there's nothing to me.
Nobody who knows more about the sport that also underappreciates it than your boy right here.
Not one.
I'm very well versed. I'm extraordinarily well versed on what's going on in the NBA, and I also.
The last time we watched the NBA, I came over to your house to watch a 2.5 hour.
Does that not happen anymore? Does Rajon? Is he still a Celtic? Is Rajon Rondo?
No, Patrick Beverley doesn't play for the Rockets.
I'm joking right now, by the way, for the fucking studio audience.
So there is no studio audience.
As far as you
know.
Where's the sign?
Dude, the last time you watched an NBA game, I was at your house and we accidentally did coke in a Maserati.
That's true.
Okay. Back up. To this right here. I will say this. No, I don't want to hear that story, but I will say this. I will watch the Phillies play the Mets in a random ass game that doesn't matter because we need the Phillies to lose so that we can maintain first place.
You have interest.
A dozen times before I'll watch a regular season or even just and I'm only saying this.
You have no vested interest.
I have no vested interest, but what I'm saying is that for me, and yes, I will admit that I don't watch sports the same way as you do, obviously.
Because he watches them like an asshole.
I don't watch.
Same way I do everything.
I don't give a fuck about hockey at all. But yes, basketball playoffs are head and shoulders more riveting than Stanley Cup.
100%.
As is NFL playoffs, and then there's 50 feet of space and the World Series.
You're so crazy.
Or baseball playoffs.
There's World Series if they're major markets. That's the
me.
difference.
I don't give a shit.
I'm talking about the nation, though.
Can I ask a question?
I'm talking about me personally.
Please, someone calling me. I'd like to ask a question.
No, all you do is fucking talk. It's time for us.
I want to ask a question.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying for me personally, by the way, that's how I rank them. I will rank them.
So you love baseball the most?
Yes.
So let's talk about baseball.
Well, before we
I'm going to ask you a question about baseball.
Good segue.
What makes...
is the best baseball name? Homer Bailey.
Boom!
Game over.
Okay. The fact that you know that it is a World Series game makes it that much more riveting and interesting to you. What is the difference between watching Game 7 of an ALCS as a baseball game, right?
Yeah.
Or watching game number 123 between the same two teams?
Pressure.
But it's... the pressure is perceived by you.
No, but it's perceived because it actually exists.
Well, that's because most people watch baseball wrong.
How is it different how they play the game?
Let's transpose this.
Excuse me. No. Before you answer, can I preface it with this? I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm not saying...
You're asking what it is.
I'm asking... What is the difference between watching a game that is 50 games before the end of the season, and the only difference is when it's in the World Series or the ALCS is the fact that you know it's the how do the players?
Are you insane?
How do the players
believe you were right earlier when you compared yourself to two guys?
It's the same.
Dude,
you're just watching a baseball game.
Dude, get the
you're
fuck
watching a baseball game.
Dude, get the fuck out of here.
You're watching a baseball game.
Dude, shut your mouth for a second because you sound ignorant.
This is
Either
great.
way, you're watching a game.
Shut your fucking mouth for a second because you sound ignorant. Let's apply that exact same prism to fucking football. Okay. What's the difference between week 9?
Apply it to hockey because
No, fuck hockey. What's the difference between week 9 of the NFL season and the wild card round?
Nothing.
Exactly. What do you know what's different?
That we think it's different.
No, the stakes are different, idiot. If you can't understand the fact that the stakes are different,
you play different because you know you go home if you don't win?
It's not about whether they're playing differently. You perceive it differently because it's actually different, asshole.
Because in game 120 you get to try again tomorrow.
You're still trying to win the game as hard as you can either way.
Absolutely, except now.
So why is it different?
Because all the teams weren't good enough to be here or playing fucking golf right now.
Okay, fine. So if an 8-8 team plays a 12-4 team in 1 week, but 11-5 team plays a 12-4 team, it's fucking different?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You got the best of the best.
You're trying to win the game as hard as you can.
You're an asshole, though, because you don't understand. In the regular season...
Whether it's week 11 or week 19, you're trying to win the game.
Listen. Just stop talking for 1 fucking second and listen for 1 second of your fucking life. In the regular season, you're trying to set a record. You're trying to have the best record in your division so that you can make the playoffs, or the second best record in your division if your division is good enough for you to be a wild card.
Which is a super long way to say win the game. No.
Right. It is. But what matters is your overall record. When you start the playoffs, it's all 1-game samples in the NFL. What about that do you not fucking understand?
Win the game. The objective is the same. Win the fucking game.
No, the objective isn't the same because the reward is different. If the reward is different, the objective can't be the same.
If you drop 1 game to a divisional opponent that you see 2 times a year in the NFL,
matter.
We'll see you. It all matters, but you can't pretend to tell me it matters more.
Do you try less when it's week 12 than when it's
No, but you still do try harder when it's the playoffs.
So then you do try less when it's week 12 than when it's the playoffs.
It's just that you're
less.
I don't know, man.
You might have a little bit more weighing on your mind at this point. Now, I said this earlier, and I don't want to be misunderstood.
You're just trying to be. He's trying to be a controversialist because we're about to talk about baseball. That's all that fucking is.
Do you try less in week 13 than you do wild card weekend?
No, you don't, but you still try harder.
So the objective is always to
18.
win the game at all costs all the time.
Yes.
So then how is it different?
Because
Why am I?
lose,
I'm watching a
Because
football game and I'm
do
watching a
this.
football
Let me
game.
say this. Because at game 120, you get to show up again and try tomorrow. At game 7 of an ALCS,
So what do you do different?
you go home the next day.
So do
go
you
home
play
the-
The
differently?
stakes are different. What don't you
The stakes are
get,
different.
motherfucker?
So then you play differently in game 120 than you
No,
do
it's not
in
that
the
you
wild
play
card?
differently. It's that the stakes are different. You asked what was different. It's not the play. Everyone plays hard all the time because they're professional athletes. What's different when you perceive it is the stakes, because the stakes actually are different. I don't even understand how that's hard for you to understand.
What I'm telling you is it's
in
still a
hockey,
baseball game.
in hockey,
You're just being
do
Al,
you,
dude.
in
I'm
hockey,
not fucking. I'm not playing into this
do you
bullshit.
play as hard
Yes.
in game
No.
1 of the season
No,
as you do
if playoffs,
game 5
those
of the
guys
playoffs?
go way harder in the playoffs.
Exactly. So what the fuck do you think is different?
You're
That's what
telling
we're
me they
saying.
don't go
So-
harder.
And no, I'm not. I told you they go as hard as they can week 13, but their week 19 is harder somehow.
He
in
did
the
100%
NFL.
say that. As did I.
And it's
as did
exactly
I.
what
Like,
you're
that's
saying
the
about the
difference.
NHL, dude. Like, don't pretend that you can't bring the scope across a sport.
What
you're
I'm telling-
choosing to be a controversialist. No.
What I'm
you
saying is
know
when I
what
watch
the
a
answer
game-
to what you're asking
When
is.
I watch
you
a game,
know.
when I watch a playoff baseball game, it looks the same as when I'm watching a regular season baseball game. When I watch
Okay,
a
because
playoff,
the pace of play
it
is
looks
different.
the same to me.
Do you think it looks the same when you watch football? In the
Yes.
playoffs? All right,
It
well
looks
then,
the
well
same
then,
to
well
me.
then, well then.
The only thing
we
that's different
can't-
is when I
so,
watch
to
an
borrow a
NHL
phrase,
playoff
it's because
game.
you're not trained.
When
All
I
right?
watch-
no,
when I
it's
watch
because
an-
you weren't trained. No, let's use your bullshit, fucking
I'll say
stupid,
this.
empty argument against you. It's because you're quote fucking not trained
I'm
to watch the NFL.
well as trained
you're
to
out of your
watch
fucking
any
mind.
sport as
I'm
you
not gonna
are.
sit here and listen to this dribble, dude.
sure.
I'm not gonna do it.
Listen,
he's out of his mind,
I
and
say-
he's just trying to push buttons.
I say that most people watch baseball
radio.
wrong because they watch one game at a time. You watch records.
You watch
baseball
series.
players
You
are
watch parts of
baseball
the
players
season.
are playing against the ghosts of everybody who's ever played the game every single
Do you
time.
think that's what they're thinking about when they're stepping up to bat?
I think, yeah.
You're trying to
If-
think about
I think,
nothing
yeah.
when you
If
step up
fucking
to
Hank
bat.
Aaron is standing up there and he's hit
You
714
think that's what
home
everybody
runs,
who stands up for?
No,
He's
wait,
thinking, yeah.
stop playing into his hand. Stop just entertaining the
Yeah.
drivel that comes out of his fucking mouth.
Yeah, I do believe that.
We were going to talk about something important.
No, I do believe all that, and I just we play equally. Like in game 120, that shit matters.
You play harder.
You play
The dog days are over.
after,
we're in a
after,
race
But
to
after
the
doesn't
finish
game
now.
doesn't
After
game
All-Star break,
57
It's
mean
more
just as
real.
much?
No, it doesn't.
Why not?
It doesn't.
Because if you're
Because
half
it's
a game back on
162
game
game
121
sample.
and you're 4 games
I
back
already
on
answered
57,
this for you. No, I already answered this for you. I'm not fucking doing it.
Well, because
Doesn't
in
it all
baseball-
matter?
in
Yes, it does,
in
but it doesn't matter as
baseball,
much.
People are not like teams aren't going to stay hot. You don't want to be out front in the beginning of the season.
Dude, here's what you're not fucking taking into account. And I want you to actually shut your mouth and listen to this. Really take this into exactly. The ultimate difference is that when you talk about hockey and you talk about football, they're incredibly injury-prone sports. The likelihood of you fielding the same team at the end of the season that you did at the beginning of the season is slim to none in both sports. And when you're talking about baseball, it's the same fucking dudes. You're not prone to injury. You're not prone to having your ACL collapse or being hit and you hit a concussion or whatever. And so when you have this huge sample and it's not a 16 game basis, you actually have to take a day off. You see managers do it all the time to their best starters. Sit the fuck down. Dude, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And because of the volume of games, it actually is a little different. So when you ask me if you play game 52 the same, quote, hard as you play a game 162 or even a game in the playoffs, the answer is no, you don't. But it's not because in anybody's head on game 52 that they weren't going to try as hard as they could. It's just that the stakes were different.
And nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants to play to win.
Right. And
That's the
so
only
when
point
it's
of
lose or
playing.
go home, you play harder.
Yeah, that and your roster is different. And
Yeah.
I mean, and like 90 other things, dude. But you keep trying to make apples oranges.
One thing, too, is that football, you have once a week to show up and show who you are. Baseball's more like life. you could win today, but you got to show up and play the same team tomorrow.
Dude, I compare this all the time.
But injuries are things, like, you think... Like,
when I explain this to people, I compare it all the time.
Injuries are a thing in baseball. This is the thing. Real.
No, injuries in baseball are real.
Yeah, but they're not
as
near as
prevalent.
near as
you know
dominant in hockey
One or two
or
key
football.
guys go down
you
in your
know
lineup,
that's not the same, dude. Your likelihood of going down is not the same, and you know that, and you're just being a controversialist.
Your likelihood of going down, absolutely,
you're just being a
not the same.
controversialist. Here's the way that I break it down. Like if I'm recently, I started seeing a friend girl, and she's a huge football fan, like bananas crazy, as bigger of a football fan than I am. Right?
Yeah,
I'm talking about
of a horrible team, just a perennial losing franchise. And she talks wild shit about baseball. Always has. And this year we started hanging out, and she wanted to chill with me. And she's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I'm like, "I'm watching the Braves games." And she'd come through and she'd watch. And then that happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. And she's like, "Well, why are you doing this?" And when she stop being a fucking asshole, no, like all you're doing is being a controversialist. Eventually, she's by virtue of just like being around it a lot, picked up an element of nuance that might not be there for somebody who doesn't watch baseball all the time. And she's an avid football viewer, and she all of a sudden understands the different way you have to appreciate baseball. And what I always like break it down to someone coming in who doesn't love it the way that I do is that football is lust. It's hot and it's passionate. There's only 16 days a year you get to watch the Falcons, right? And so when you've got a girlfriend that's like, "Why can't we do this today? You always want to watch the game." I don't always watch the game. There's 365 days a year. There's only 16 days a year the Falcons play the football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's the playoffs, and then they usually play one or two more, and that's it.
Or four.
And so, like, every waking moment of this thing implies urgency. It always implies, like, all of this matters all of the time, right? And so it's this very lustful, hot thing where you actually have to watch as much as you can because it's a limited resource. It's available to you in scarcity, and it's super exciting because of that. The scarcity makes it more exciting. It raises the stakes. The same as he was talking about. What's the difference between Game 52 and the playoffs? The difference is stakes. And in football, you have that by the dozen. You have stakes because it's so limited. That's lust, right? But also, you have, on a week-to-week basis, a different team taking the field every single time.
Yep.
Because your fucking DB over the wideout towards ACL, and the middle linebacker got hit, on his own helmet-to-helmet contact, and on a moment-to-moment, week-to-week basis, it's a roster of dudes who are wearing the same uniform, but it's a different team every week, right? And so, even in a city that they live in, a city they love, a team that they watch, most Americans know the quarterback, the running back, two receivers, and a tight end.
Yep.
They don't know the left guard, right?
Yeah, nobody knows those guys.
Right.
Unless they came from
know
their
a
college.
safety, they know a linebacker, they know a quarterback, right?
Yeah. You know the Braves
and what's absolutely head to toe.
But then why don't you know?
But that's my point, is that's lust, right? And it's changing all the time. It's always different. It's always new for you.
Yeah.
Baseball, by the end of the season, you know what these dudes' diet is. You can look if a faceless, amorphous entity was taking the batter's box and you just saw the stance.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you that Ozzy moves his right foot if he's batting left-handed and then steps as the pitch is being thrown.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you that Acuna always does this with his fingers. I know this is not a visual medium. I'm wriggling my fingers at the end of the bat. You know what I mean? By the end of the season, you see all these, like, ridiculous nuances in this group of people because the group of people is much smaller. But B, you don't watch them 16 days a year. You watch them 6 months of year. And you might not watch every game, but every game is available to you. You can miss this entire week. I've watched every Braves game for a long time. I was off most of July.
Annoying as fuck.
No. I've been off most of July, right? Then we went on this, and I saw they played a doubleheader on Monday. So
Yes,
I saw the early game.
watched
No,
both
we
of them.
watched 9 games before that.
I saw the early game, and I missed every other game this week until today. They had a day game, and I watched that. And so, like, even when you don't catch the game, you can look at a box score. Because of what we were talking about earlier, no other sport has a situation where everybody plays the same position offensively.
That's very
There's
true.
no unifying metric, right?
That makes it superior.
So I'm not saying it makes it superior. What I'm telling you is football is lust because everything matters and it's in scarcity. And baseball is love. It's this slow-moving...
long game.
All of the intricacies are this week, next month.
All wretched, no vomit.
All of the intricacies are like, you're what I have. And you root for them on this day in, day out. And it's not this like hot pink Hallmark romance
that you have to physically struggle to
the
obtain.
way that the NFL is. It's this like, even if you didn't watch it, you can pull up the fucking box score and know exactly what happened because of the way that the game is structured.
Yep.
Which is so fucking beautiful.
There's no eye test.
No, there's an eye test for sure. You just, again, you want to be a controversialist.
I'm just trying to make good radio.
No, you're just trying to be an asshole.
Both things are true.
Yeah, well, mostly the second one. But my point is,
oh, that's adorable.
My
guys.
point is, when you start to perceive both of them with like this blank slate, and I'm just a fan, and I want to take it as it comes. The attachment that you start to feel on a day-to-day basis with your baseball players.
Oh, yeah.
Is a little different than the way, unless you're a franchise quarterback or a franchise receiver. It is.
Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. Yeah, exactly. But like, are we gonna all go out and buy fucking Tevin Coleman jerseys? Like, get out of here, dude. He'll be a Seahawk.
That's true, and I will say
he'll be a Seahawk in a year.
This
and a half.
too, like what you're saying in like football is that your quarterback, a couple of receivers, couple of running backs, and maybe a tight end, and that's your avid football fan. But even your casual baseball fan knows
the entire starting 9 and some utility players.
Even your I was gonna say even your casual baseball fan knows fucking. Hank Aaron, Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth. They know that 4192 means Cal Ripken.
I don't think that they do.
And I mean, I think that the casual baseball fan knows these stats and knows these random things
Cal Ripken
about.
Jr. is the Iron Man. They know Hank Aaron is the home run king.
They know these things. I mean, I think.
Yeah, but they can't take your starting 9. Like I'm a Nationals fan. I could probably name 7 of the everyday lineup guys, and most of our starting rotations because injuries were terrible.
I can name our entire pitching staff.
Of course you can. You can name the wife or girlfriend of everybody on your team and their domestic pets and what preference of coffee they like.
Speaking of which, can we talk about Freddie Freeman's ugly ass baby?
Cute.
Dude, can we talk about the fact that I sat right behind Ozzy Albies' girlfriend?
Welcome to Braves Hour on the MI Podcast. You're listening to Atlanta Braves, 30 minutes of Atlanta Braves conversation. Monty's going to take a brief pause for the calls. He'll be back in just a few minutes. For the next several hours, we're going to talk about Braves baseball. Stay tuned.
Do you feel cool? No. Human Thumb and Braves manager Brian Snitker is driving this team into the ground. And
do you think Snit's man? I love
think
Snit.
He makes some. I know I'm a fan of his, especially because he went out hot when Acuna got hit.
Yeah,
but I think we've lost probably 7 games this year because of him.
Because he's taken out Fulte last night when he shouldn't have.
You got to leave Fulte in, and he makes line of this, like, why not bench Dansby and start Culberson more?
Or yeah, dude, fucking Charlie Clutch.
Culberson is horrible shortstop. Like, he has no range. He's a fucking mess.
That bat though.
But he's dramatically better offensively.
And
I mean, Dansby doesn't need to be in against left-handed pitching ever.
Dansby and Julio Teheran are 2 players that I don't, for the life of me, know why we still keep on our roster.
Dude, don't miss me with that Julio shit because
But we had this conversation, I think, the night that we met at Bubba's.
I'm part of the Julio Teheran Constructive Criticism Club. I think is what I told you.
maybe, I don't know. I just don't see. I don't know, man. What do we see in him? He's lost every start this year except for like one, I think.
No. That's not true at all, man.
Is it not?
Yeah, no. He's close to 500. He was a game over 500 recently.
I don't know, man. It just seems like we lose every fucking game that he starts. Or
Dude,
I don't know if it.
The other day, he pitched super well, and they collapsed at the end.
You guys want some peanuts?
There's almonds and pistachios and all sorts of things.
What are you doing?
We're talking about baseball.
Just calm the fuck down.
Which is predominantly better than hockey.
So
Hockey doesn't have peanuts.
So he gets put in. We put him under this hypercritical box, right? And it's because we call him our quote ace. But if he was our third man on the rotation, we would be hailing this dude.
Yeah.
And the reality is,
I guess you're right there.
The reality is, Julio Teheran on most good ball clubs is a second or third pitcher. And the Braves have had to send this dude out opening day year after year after year and pretend he's an ace. And he's not quite a fucking ace.
No.
But you know what? He's a lot better than not having a Julio Teheran.
See.
And he's a pitcher in the National League that's a good at bat, which fucking matters, especially come playoff time.
He's a good at bat. He gets on base.
He's a good at
decent.
Dude,
decent amount.
He hit for a while this year. He was hitting better than Bryce Harper.
That home run was dude, what is batting
For a
like
while,
215?
Everybody was hitting better than Bryce Harper.
He was hitting. Bryce was hitting 214 in the All-Star break.
Dude, yeah, it's.
What's he hitting now? By the way, how many home runs does he have?
I don't think he's not.
Ozzie Albies.
He's not near not much better than he was. Honestly, I don't think.
Can we talk about how race played a role in who plays second base and who plays shortstop for the Braves?
I'd love to get into that.
By all means.
Okay. Well,
I will say this though. I am really glad that Mike Trout. I'm really glad that Mike Trout's gotten hurt, so that Mookie Betts can be properly assessed in the league.
Oh yeah. Because Mike, this is the thing. Mike Trout isn't a star, and baseball needs stars, but he doesn't have all the shit outside of the sport that makes you a star.
Yeah.
Does he need to have that to be a star in the sport?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Absolutely, it does.
I mean, DiMaggio didn't have that.
Baseball.
You suck Aaron Rodgers' balls.
Baseball,
what does he have outside the sport that
Olivia
makes him?
Olivia Munn. Baseball.
That makes him a star?
No.
So if Mike Trout dated a super hot chick?
You can't just be louder than everybody.
I'm asking
Cardi
you.
B. No, you are louder.
You can say Cardi B.
Yeah.
You can't just be louder than everybody.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to do anything outside of the sport because he plays in the NFL.
Right.
Do you not
the
understand
NFL
the
covers
difference?
that for them. Do you not see how they get so jealous when they're talking about
MLB
baseball?
needs some outside of the sport panache for you to be a star because it can't manufacture them.
Give me for instance.
Mike Trout.
Fine use of panache, by the way.
Give me for instance of a guy who does it.
Who doesn't what?
Who does what you're saying?
Derek Jeter did it.
What does Harper do?
He is a household name, and he doesn't deserve to be.
Sports
Illustrated and ESPN mainly.
The hair thing.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
So if Trout had hair and ESPN fucking sucked his dick, Mike Trout.
No, ESPN sucks Mike Trout's dick.
Yeah.
My point is that Mike Trout isn't interesting off the field, and MLB
He's just
needs you.
super good on it.
Right, and MLB needs you to be interesting off the field because MLB isn't in the position that the NBA and the NFL are in terms of household audience. Right. They just can't manufacture.
That's what I was saying a second ago. Is that the NFL just gets so fucking jealous of other sports that they have to just talk about bullshit in the off season.
No, dude, they don't
matter.
No, don't be crazy.
Oh,
they don't
day.
talk about bullshit in the off season because they're jealous. They're just way more of a household name, and so in their off season, they still happen to be bigger than baseball.
Yeah, but
that's what that is.
Obviously not in my mind.
Okay, well, you're being a homer.
I don't mind that. I'll be that all day.
Okay, but that doesn't make gray white. You can't just say things that aren't R.
But they are R in my head.
Okay, well, it's crazy that you get to walk around that way, but I'm talking about reality.
Nah, I mean, I'll get what you mean. I get what you mean, but does it really fucking matter that Colin Kaepernick got turned down?
There we go.
He got turned down for a fucking contract offer 2 years ago that just broke the news this week? Why the fuck did it just break this week?
Who cares?
What I'm talking?
If he was a good quarterback, he would play in the league.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, the NFL is so big that in its off season, it's bigger than baseball. And that might not be what you like, but that's what's true, my guy.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll entertain it.
That's what's true.
I'll entertain it.
And I'd love to talk Braves baseball as long as we can, but if you want to get meta, if you want to get meta on a household basis in this country,
I hate it.
The NFL's offseason is bigger than the fucking MLB. Fact.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I know you do, but
you're
being a homer.
But then
you're
again,
sitting behind a chop-on rag.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like you're being biased. I'm talking about objective reality. I'm talking about numbers, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I get 100% what you're saying. I just don't like it, like you say. You're right. I'm giving you that.
It's not the way it should be, but it's the way it is.
Yeah. I'm a little bummed out about it.
I want to get back to the conversation you and I had earlier in my parents' kitchen on how, because I'm interested to know your explanation. No, I'm asking. How did race come in?
Oh, you want to get back to the second base?
To play who
I'd love to talk about
second
this.
base and who
He loves
shortstop.
to race bait me because
I just want to know why you think.
It's not that I
can
think.
tell just by this couple hours you are a baiter.
No, why you think
a
major league skipper is going to allow an owner or city officials to come in and tell him who is playing?
Think that a major league skipper has anything to do with what's happening at the minor league level?
Not a minor league level, on his own team.
Dude, I'm not talking about the fucking major league level. I'm talking about the minor league level. Okay, so let's back up a little bit.
For our listeners, shit about minor
for our listeners, no, because that's the point you're trying to fucking make.
I will talk.
That's the point you're trying to make.
I saw a guy with a Springfield Isotope shirt yesterday and applauded him for that.
This is the point Monty's trying to make. He's heard me say this several times. I disagree with the fact that the Braves field Dansby Swanson at shortstop.
Yes.
I disagree with it a lot because I think it's 100% race and ticket based. In the minor leagues, both Ozzie Albies and Dansby Swanson played shortstop. And in the minor leagues, the Braves said, one of you dudes we're going to keep you both for a long time. One of you is going to play shortstop. One of you is going to play second base. We have to decide who's going to switch. And if you go back to the Frank Wren era of Atlanta Braves baseball.
Yes.
Blowing up that team hurt, right? We had Ellis Blanco.
When was that?
We had 2011-12. We had if you go position by position, you had both Uptons, you had Kimbrel, you had Jason Hayward, you had Chris Johnson, who we got in the fucking Justin Upton trade somehow. You had all of these pieces, right?
Yeah.
And getting rid of most of them contract-wise made sense. It all made sense. The thing that hurt me personally was getting rid of Jason Hayward, but it actually did make sense. It actually did make sense to get rid of J.Hay based on what he was about to get paid. Kimbrel stung, but what's the point in an elite closer if you're going to have 39 save opportunities a year?
Yes.
Right? We had to let that dude go. What didn't make sense to let go was the best defensive shortstop that's played in 40 years.
Andrelton Simmons was the fucking man.
And you know what his bat was? It's not worse than Dansby's.
No.
But we got rid of him. You got rid of him because we had these two dudes in our minor league. Both played shortstop. Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies. One of them had to convert to second. And the one we converted to second was the handsome white boy who's from Atlanta.
First round pick.
Yeah, that's the dude we let play shortstop. And the dude we converted to second was the dude from Curacao who's brown and doesn't sell as many tickets. The dude, no,
head and shoulders better player.
What is?
And is a head and shoulders better player.
Who?
Ozzie.
Absolutely he is.
Ozzie,
We got no. Hold on. You asked me a question. We got rid of the greatest, like highest wins above replacement defensively.
How do you feel about the wins above replacement
in baseball? What about it? It's a flawed thing. It all is.
You use it as an argument a lot of times.
Yeah, it's still flawed. Like plenty of shit's flawed. You're flawed. I use you a lot.
Good night, everybody.
He's just a Raggedy Ann over here, just taking the hits.
No, listen. We get. No, I'm Raggedy Ann.
It's designed that way.
No, we let Andrelton Simmons go, right?
Yeah.
And we had the choice to bring up one of two dudes at short, and we brought up this handsome white boy, right?
Yeah.
Who's from Atlanta because he sells fucking jerseys. And we put the dude on the less rock star position. We made him in his like developmental years learn a new position, right? And we also made him start switch hitting at 16, 17 years old, by the way. Ozzie Albies is not a natural switch hitter. He did that for the Atlanta Braves. And here you are.
You do that for Chipper Jones.
Here you are, and you're looking at Dansby Swanson, who's 6th in wins above replacement defensively. Like, Dansby Swanson is a great defensive shortstop. He's not totally elite, but he's not way far behind Andrelton Simmons.
He was a first-round pick. I mean,
but he's
a monster.
Totally fucking lost at the plate. He's totally lost.
Did you see that thing last night?
Dude is in a free fall.
He struck out a pitch 2 feet out of the fucking zone.
Absolutely, he golfs. And you've got Ozzie Albies, who has significantly better range, is more athletic,
great plate discipline,
is a switch hitter, and can hit for power.
So you think they made that move because they're going to sell more tickets with a white guy at shortstop than winning more games?
I think they made that move because they're going to sell more jerseys with a white boy at shortstop.
It's still monetarily.
But the guys are still playing on the same diamond, right? They're still on the same infield. They're still the same guy. One guy stands over here.
But let's not pretend that we perceive shortstops. We don't perceive second basemen to be the rock star.
Makes a lot of fucking difference.
That's a difference to your front office. You would rather have a guy that looks like that than win 20 more games.
This is the same front office that tried to move the Braves out of actual Atlanta to the widest part of the surrounding areas. The new stadium is a monolith of institutional racism. I'll say that all goddamn day. Yes, I think the same people that made the decision to build the stadium, the same people that made the decision to move the team, are the same people that made the decision to have the handsome white boy play fucking shortstop.
Isn't the city of Atlanta pretty much historically run by Democratic African Americans?
It has nothing to do with the fact that all of the surrounding areas voted down public transit to them.
But they voted down public.
Now we've gotten somewhere.
Public transit too. So how does Atlanta and don't all the cities around?
Let's go.
No, I'm just saying. Historically speaking, it's a very blue southern state.
Yeah, inside the perimeter, my guy. But Alpharetta and Cobb County and Roswell, these places are not
residential.
Blue. They're not
Suburbia.
blue. They're not blue. And they all voted down MARTA expanding to them.
See, wait.
Listen. They all voted down MARTA expanding to them, and since are really pining to have that come back through a vote because their populations are being zapped because all the young people are moving into the city because young people don't want to sit in fucking traffic for 3 hours a day. What's happening is they moved the team outside of what MARTA had the infrastructure to bus to and from. They are doing this Redskins Dan Snyder-esque parking. They're doing this Dan Snyder-esque.
That's why Snyder built FedEx Field where
parking thing where the city can't get you to and from. You have to pay for parking, and if you try to drive yourself, there's DUI traps.
Do you know that if you don't drive yourself to FedEx Field, you have to take them
what's more than that? And here's the difference. Here's the difference, though. You go to every major American municipality that has a rail system, and I'll show you a city that is funded at the city level, at the state level, and at the federal level. And when you go to Atlanta, that's not the case. They make, count them, $0 fucking dollars from the state. Atlanta is funded by what Atlanta raises itself, and it's funded federally because it's this tiny blue dot in a giant red state. And so what they did is they moved a major sporting team that's supposed to represent a populace outside of that populace into a super Caucasian area and then deprived its fans the ability to get there and back so that they have to pay for parking.
This is going way deeper than I
Aren't they
thought.
still?
Well, I'm sorry, yeah,
aren't they
but
still
like,
selling
no,
this is what
this
he was
is
trying to
good.
bait. This is what he's trying to bait.
This is good.
This is what he was trying to bait because SunTrust
Not baiting,
Field,
it's just conversation.
SunTrust Field is a monolith of institutional racism, and the reason they built SunTrust Field is the same reason Dansby Swanson's the fucking shortstop. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but it's fucking true.
Yeah, I agree. Dansby's not.
Ozzy Albies should be the shortstop all day
Yeah.
long. Ozzy Albies should be following up Andrelton Simmons.
And you think it's
as the
just
best-
because of the
Yes,
color of
that's
his skin?
absolutely why.
We're in
Absolutely.
2018, and the color of his skin dictates.
We're
the
in
position in which he
2018,
plays.
and the war on
Weird.
drugs is the new Jim Crow, and we can get into that super weird conversation. if you want to.
2018 doesn't
mean
matter.
fucking
Dude. There's
nothing.
fucking
70%
even
of the
on my
MLB
Facebook,
is made up of Dominican
Yeah,
players.
but on
and you're
my
telling me the
Facebook-
color of
Absolutely,
the guy's
and
skin
white
means
announcers make zero effort to pronounce any of their names right.
No,
Like,
there's-
what are we
there's
talking
guys
about?
that care a lot.
2018.
with people, the level of comfort that people have with showing how racist they
dude,
are in 2018 is baffling.
Let me
to
tell you this before we
It's
take
still
this
happening.
before we go down this social spire. Let me tell you this: for a really long time, I dated a girl who lived inside the perimeter, right? She lived at
Yes.
Lindbergh Station, and we would not even know what we were going to do that day. It'd be about noon. Decide we were going to the Braves game. Walk across the street to the Packy. Get some liquor. Get some beers.
Yep.
Pre-game. Spend $5 round trip to take the train to the shuttle to the stadium. Going back, they don't even card you. You just get to come. Buy $4 tickets to sit in nosebleeds. Sit wherever the fuck you want because it's you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there ain't nobody around there.
yeah. And go to and from a Major League Baseball game. Travel and attendance for under $10. We did this again and again and again.
That's one thing also that baseball has figured out that other sports can't. Now, granted, there's a lot more games, but dude,
Isn't that true out of a lot of other sports, though?
What?
The fact that you used to be able to access these games.
No. But all the other sports didn't move their No. But
super inexpensive.
No. Because all other sports didn't move the stadiums outside the perimeter of what the city has
The
the
fan
infrastructure
base.
to get you to and from. And
they
that's
built
the point
that city around that stadium there for a little while.
That's the point I'm trying to make. And what's important to note? What is important to note is the Atlanta Braves were the only team in any major American sport that includes hockey, all four sports. The only team in any American sport that didn't own where they played. The Atlanta Braves leased Turner Field from the city of Atlanta because Turner Field was built as a track and field
Olympics.
complex for the 96 Olympics.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where we can spend $300 million to renovate a place that we don't own, or we can spend $700 million to own
And make
our
a
own
place
spot
where the
we own.
economically challenged people can't necessarily
Can't get to, right?
access to.
And we can, and like in lieu of building the new spot, get rid of some of what we view to be trash demographic. But as somebody,
I don't think they say trash demographic.
yeah, that's not how they would frame it. But as somebody who has spent a lot of time inside the perimeter in Atlanta, I'm telling you, there's nothing like getting off that shuttle by Turner Field and hearing the brass bands underneath that little interpass.
Oh man!
And I can relate to you
walking
in saying RFK. When I
You
grew up,
walking in.
RFK Stadium was where the Skins played, and you could take the metro straight right on to the block where
But
RFK
they saw
was.
Dan Snyder turn a profit.
No, well, Dan Snyder bought the team, and then he built FedEx Field
Right,
in Landover,
that's my point.
Maryland,
Right.
which the closest metro stop is 2.5 miles.
And he's
of a
probably
walk.
making a shitload more money
I'm
now.
working.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
the area of parking, he's got.
And not only
he's
that,
got
not only that,
27
they're
acres
making-
of parking
and
around the
SunTrust is
stadium.
making all the dollars on all of those places that are renting out those spots within the
Terrapin
stadium.
Spot, yeah, we
All
talked
of
about
those,
the
the
Well, I mean,
chop
okay,
house
but
or whatever,
think
or
about
the
it.
home or whatever. I'm sure. But
I'm not saying it's correct, and I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but think about it from the perspective of that. All right, let's say Snyder goes, all right, I can keep the Redskins playing at RFK Stadium that has been in existence since the mid '60s. Okay,
You're
or
defending Dan Snyder.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm offering a different perspective, and the perspective is this: I can build a stadium that seats 90,000 people 10 miles outside of downtown and expand. I can make, of the course of 8 home games, I can make a difference of $7 million in parking and shit than I could of offering like the Capitals, who you can take the metro literally into where they play. You can get off at a metro stop.
What is the point you're trying to make?
You can walk off the metro and walk into the Capitals arena.
And so is what you're trying to tell me is Dan Snyder had it right?
No, I'm trying to say from a business point of view perspective, if
Fuck
you
the
can
business. You're representing a
more.
municipality. You're supposed to represent your fans. Right. And they're the Atlanta Braves. They're not the Cobb County Braves.
Yeah.
And when you get right the fuck down to it, like we talked earlier in this podcast, the fact that you identify primarily as a baseball fan and then a football fan and then so on and so forth. Dude.
And then rugby. And then ping pong and then hockey.
In this country, it's football and then everything else. Within the city of Atlanta, I've had this talk many times, the culture of Atlanta really identifies with the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, yeah.
There's been seasons where I go to 2 or more Falcons games a year. Of 8 games. And I'll see that stadium 60-40 the other team.
Oh, yeah. Nobody gives a shit about anything.
Right now, Lightning striking with Atlanta United.
Yeah.
But the reality is...
Is it though?
Historic. Oh, absolutely. They set the attendance record at the new Falcons Stadium.
No,
they did.
Is Atlanta United?
Yep.
Yeah, they're killing. But the culture of Atlanta, because of the history, 14 straight division titles,
and because of TBS.
Yeah, TBS. Because Atlanta really, really identifies itself. The culture of Atlanta identifies itself with the Braves. You can go to a fucking punk ska bar. If it's got a TV behind the bar during a Braves game, that shit is on. You know what I mean? It does. You don't need to be going to a sports bar. The city of Atlanta really embraces the Braves, and the fact that the brain trust, which I really trust as it pertains to personnel management and the farm system and all of these other things, and call me a fool, but I really believe we're on the eve of some really great things as a franchise.
Dude, I think it's the sequel of the...
No, I mean, Swanson was fine for now.
The sequel of the 90s is happening right now.
100%. Did you know that every arm in our AAA club is a top 100 prospect?
Yes.
They're not all going to be
We have had the best farm system for the last 3 years, at least.
They're not
the number one farm system in baseball for 3 years.
They're not all going to be elite
arms.
arms, this pitching staff, but 2 of them will. You know what I mean?
Like, well, not only that, they're fucking their trade fucking
their trade value.
Their trade value, exactly. I mean, that's all that. At this point, as long as we keep our farm system intact for at least another season or so, we're gonna produce literally the greatest fucking players in baseball.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys this, both being diehard fans of the Braves, when this season started, you didn't anticipate
Absolutely.
Fuck no.
All right,
this is a huge surprise.
Absolutely.
So now
when they lose 10 straight to close the season, 7 of which are against the Phillies, and don't make the playoffs.
Now that you're here,
I won't be surprised.
I'll still
be overjoyed that this season
What is
happened.
the measuring stick of success now that you are where you are right now at this point in the season?
5 years.
Playing for the wild card.
Like, when are you let down?
You talking about this moment?
When are you let down? Like,
I can't be.
I knew it.
No, the reality is
there's no letdown.
We were the worst team in baseball.
So you're already at this point, no matter what happens.
Us and the Twins.
Dude, I'll jerk off and watch look at my 2011.
This
schedule.
year has already.
No matter what happens from here on out,
100%.
You're fucking like
100%
right on.
We just went through.
We were 500
years
at fucking All-Star break.
You're like the Redskins winning
solid.
9 games next season.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
We finished All-Star break at 500. I'm.
Dude,
stoked.
if the Braves don't win another game, I will celebrate this year.
Yeah.
You get super mad when the Braves don't win at all.
That's not true.
Yes,
that's not true. No, dude, because
every time they let them run, you're like, fuck!
We just got swept by the Rockies.
And you should have been there. I was with them every step of the way.
You've known me as long as you've known me, and the Braves have been bad that entire time. So if
There's been a
lost,
time when I would tell people
out,
I was going home to watch the Braves lose as like a normal thing.
As long
You're talking
as
to a
you've known
DC
me,
fan.
as long as you've known me, I've been
shamed the
emotionally
table of
prepared for this team to
DC.
underwhelm me. And so at this point, with what I consider to be two of the most exciting young players in baseball, and I don't understand how Camargo doesn't get put in that. I would say three of the most exciting young players in baseball.
He will be, and if Charlie Hustle gets the fucking ball more, he probably or Charlie Clutch.
He's still a defensive.
Isn't there a pitcher
liability.
who's like been out of his mind as a rookie this year?
No, not as a rookie.
I mean,
the only reason
that,
Chipper
that
Jones
Shin
didn't win
Soo
Rookie
Choo
of the Year
guy
when
was doing all right, but he got hurt and he couldn't pitch.
Who?
Shin Soo Choo, the guy from Angels.
Oh yeah. All he does is strike people out and hit home runs.
Oh yeah, not in the
I
Braves.
love
No,
that
you're
guy.
talking about
The guy for the
I'll
Angels.
tell you what, though.
Ohtani.
Oh yeah, Ohtani, Shohei Ohtani, not Shin Soo Choo. That guy plays for the Yankees,
the Angels,
I think.
Japanese guy or whatever. I don't know. He's got eyes that aren't as wide as ours.
Ohtani, that's right. Shohei Ohtani.
And he just strikes people out and then hits home runs.
He was the Babe Ruth of Japan. They called him because he could hit home runs.
Japan of Babe Ruth.
He is the Japan of Babe Ruth.
He's the Japan of Babe Ruth.
He's right around the stomach area.
You know what's funny is I saw this picture the other day of them like telling Babe Ruth he had to do like cardio and shit, and like two guys just carrying him off the field because he had to like run. Like they didn't do that back then. Like there was no fucking running. Like Babe Ruth didn't move.
He pitched because that was where you didn't have to run.
Well, I don't know. I think we should keep going down that rabbit hole because I mean, if you're not a Braves fan, you turned this off 40 minutes ago. So
yeah, I mean,
fine.
If you're not a Braves fan, fuck you.
You turn yourself off.
No, well, I'm not.
Turn yourself off.
I'm not. I guess I am for the remainder of the season just because the Nationals have been like, no, we're not.
Dude, I have a theory that you guys leaked that you were gonna trade Bryce Harper with no intention to trade him at all.
Right, absolutely. They put him on the block with no intention to get him
just to show him, look, kid, nobody wants you.
Yeah. Oh, they field offers.
It looks like that worked.
No, they turned down reports where they turned down offers from 3 different clubs for Bryce before the deadline.
Yankees,
and now,
Dodgers.
No, I think that was just that's true.
Yankees, Dodgers, Cardinals, the 3 people who offer everybody everything.
Cleveland came at him hard.
Cleveland
came at him hard.
Bryce Harper doesn't want to be an Indian.
Cleveland's in first place in the fucking AL Central.
Okay, I said Bryce Harper doesn't want to be an Indian. I didn't say Cleveland.
Bryce Harper wants to be a Cub. Bryce Harper wants to be
a Yankee. Bryce Harper's been talking about wearing pinstripes. He was 14 years old on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Look, Bryce Harper will be a Yankee.
The only thing stopping Harper from wearing pinstripes next year is Dodger blue or Red Sox red, and I don't think the Yankees are going to let either thing happen. I think that Washington,
we talked about that.
True Washington fashion, just as they fucked up with Kirk Cousins being the best franchise quarterback that team has ever seen in 87 years of being a franchise.
Yeah.
They get nothing for him. They didn't sign him.
Wait. They got Alex Smith.
They got nothing. Let that sink in. Alex Smith is a lateral move, and that's being very kind to Alex Smith. Bryce Harper leaves the Nationals just like Steven Strasburg leaves the Nationals, and the Nationals get nothing. They get nothing. He walks away.
I think
instead of dealing him to a team like Cleveland.
More than
can I tell you
Bryce
my favorite
Harper
statistic in sports?
But why not? If you know that for the last 45 games of this season, that's all he's going to be for you, and you're not even going to make the fucking postseason to begin with because all you do is slide.
Dude.
Get rid of him.
When me and Monty got here, the Nats were 4 games back, and the Braves were 2.5 games up from the Phillies.
The Nats are double-digit.
The Nats are 9 games back now.
Maybe, I think 10 now.
We've been here a week, dude.
We're also at a half.
We're not 2.5 games now.
But why not get some?
We might be less of the the Phillies lost
today.
Yeah.
You paid so heavily for this dude. You took him out of fucking high school. You brought him along so quick. You paid him hundreds of millions of dollars to kind of produce for you for a lot. To lose 4 playoff games immediately.
Can I tell you my favorite?
All you've done. The Nationals have never won a postseason game.
That's my favorite.
In the Bryce Harper era, they've not.
No, they've won a postseason game. They haven't won a postseason series.
They've won one postseason game since Bryce Harper
It's my favorite
came on
statistic
board.
in sports. The Nationals have never won a
So,
postseason series.
when you know that it's a foregone conclusion that he's not going to be...
That does help you sleep a little bit better.
Feels-
When he's
makes
not
me feel
going to
good.
be wearing your uniform next season...
Fuck that bag of dicks.
Dude,
Dude, the only time I
get
ever went
something
to jail.
for him. Can you get some prospects? Can you get some pitchers? Can you get...
Not anymore. Not if his average keeps dropping and he still keeps.
When he's hitting
fucking-
214?
Yeah, you ain't get anything
Well, he's
for
hitting
him.
like
Dude, I went to
230 now. He's
jail
got
for his
31
bad.
home runs. That's fine.
Dude,
All I'm
Manny
saying is,
Machado should be stoked that he got out when he did, when his trade value was still high as shit. Because
I'm tired of teams seeing guys that they know are not going to play for them next year, but they're so fucking stubborn that they won't deal them. They just won't take an offer at the deadline. And I'm not talking about just baseball. I'm talking about any fucking
well, you
sport
guys got
across the
a
board.
huge problem going on up there because you got your fucking pitching staff arguing and shit.
Well,
and
Dude,
half the
yeah,
pitching
Scherzer
staff
and
is
Strasburg,
out.
That's
Dude,
not good.
I had to tell
for
him
y'all.
about that when
Strasburg's been
Strasburg
on
came
the
off and
injured
Scherzer
list.
pointed at the fucking clubhouse. And
He's
was
like, "Get the fuck in there, we're
down
gonna fucking talk."
Yeah, we'll talk about
Strasburg
this
has been on the
off camera.
DL for 20 days now. Doolittle, our closer, has been out. Madsen, our setup guy, has been out. You got 7 guys that play on a day-to-day that are not playing. I'm not excusing the fact that we're
Seems
terrible.
like you are.
No, I'm not.
Jason Worth's been fucking hurt for.
Well, he's not even a
My dad,
national
Jason
anymore, right?
Worthless, he doesn't know. He's
Is
gone.
Jason Worth a national?
I don't.
Yeah, he's
I
not
don't
a
even-
national.
Where did he
No,
go?
it doesn't matter.
He's not a national.
The best thing the Nationals got going for him is a 19-year-old Daniel Sotos who's fucking kicking.
Which
fucking
brings me to the
nuts.
only thing I put into my brain to make sure I bought up when I got here. All right, like that first podcast was
Good because we are. I just
Way
looked. We
over
are
time.
at 2 hours and 8 minutes on just the sports talk.
Okay, well, we meandered a lot, but let me get to this. Soto versus
Watch the.
Acuna. Soto versus Acuna, Rookie of the Year.
Man, I hate that he got hit in that pitch because I feel like he could have done 5. That home run, leadoff home run streak is gonna bode very well for Acuna in that conversation.
It's not only that though, dude.
But
he's hit more home runs. He has a higher batting average. He's got a higher slugging percentage. He doesn't get on base as much.
Could you tell that he was completely prepared to listen to whatever you had or anybody had to say to his question?
No, but what my point was that none of these statistics matter because one is helping lead his team to a fucking division win.
yes,
And the other one has Bryce Harper and Max Scherzer and is sitting at 500.
that's a huge disappointment.
He's
Don't worry about
19, man. Look, what do you want him to do?
What is
He's
Ronald
doing
Acuna, dude?
both
He's like a
guys.
couple months older?
Right. No, I'm saying is both guys are
Dude,
doing
Ronald
precisely
Acuna-
what you asked them to do.
Ronald Acuna and Soto have roughly the same plate appearances, and Acuna is a bigger offensive presence, but doesn't get walked as much and doesn't get on base as much.
Yeah,
And is defensive,
definitely much
and is
showier, more showy.
defensively significantly better.
yeah.
Significantly
By what
better
margin? By
defensively.
how? By what?
Wins
How do
above
you, How do you
replacement.
measure it?
Wins
You
above
just
replacement.
7 minutes ago you said that is a stat that doesn't matter to you at all, except.
I didn't
for
say it doesn't matter to me. I
efficiency.
said it's flawed.
Yeah, he did say flawed because
I didn't say it didn't matter.
All right.
Don't,
I didn't.
don't
I'm not gonna
Montanaro
lie.
out of me and
I'm
put
not
words
gonna
in my
lie.
mouth.
I
So
didn't
then make
know.
a
I didn't
flawed
know about
argument.
WAR at all until my Seth Scalara brought it up, and I was like, he was like, "How do you feel about that?" Because that was all that ranked. That was the only difference between Mike Trout and Mookie Betts is that
Wins above replacement.
yes,
So
that was
about
the only
football.
difference in the two.
Was Trout a better defenseman?
Yes.
Or? Okay, yeah.
And he was like, "How do you feel about the WAR?" And I'm like, "What?" I thought it meant walks
Against runs.
or something random.
Walks
like
against
I was like,
runs.
"What?" Like
Yeah.
walks.
You've been walked 9 times, but you only scored 3.
or walks above. I didn't know. I didn't know what the fuck it meant. I had to fucking Google it afterwards. I'll admit to that.
Do you know what weighted runs created is?
Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFC.
You're out of your goddamn head.
Albuquerque.
He's not even top 5.
Do we just say random
All
things?
right, he's probably top 5.
Name me 4 quarterbacks better than Russell
In
Wilson.
the NFC?
In the NFC.
Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, no.
You're crazy.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is Russell Wilson. He's like the
No,
short
Russell
dudes who can
Wilson is
ball.
Drew Brees 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll
Drew
still
Brees,
throw 400
Drew
yards
Brees,
in a
Matt
random-ass
Ryan,
game.
Aaron Rodgers. I got to name 5 in the NFC.
Nope. I don't agree with Drew Brees.
I don't give a fuck what you agree with.
All right,
You're allowed to be wrong.
I'll give you Rodgers, and I'll give you Ryan.
Ezekiel. How do you say? Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott's not better than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he is.
No, you don't. You don't believe that.
I don't
Look at
believe
me
that.
in my eyes and tell me you believe that Prescott's
I
better
don't
than
quite
Russell
believe
Wilson.
that. I don't quite believe that.
No, you don't.
He'll finish with a better record this year, though.
Tell me he's a better quarterback.
He's not a better quarterback.
Of course.
As long as
All right,
Zeke
so he's
keep
the
eating.
4th best fucking quarterback in the NFC. Why are you trying to get us off
Third
track?
best.
We were talking about something.
I'm trying to give the people something they give a fuck about. That's right. Who plays shortstop?
Well,
for
dude,
you fucking
we
you
clearly
something
went
you
down
give
an
a fuck about.
insane- Yeah, you
Let's
were
be
trying to
real.
give. Yeah, that's all you care about is what you give.
My
a fuck
listeners to my podcast know that I talk about the Braves.
About. Yeah, so
Right.
watch your fucking mouth.
You want some more?
Yeah. Give us some more
Braves
money.
fans.
No,
Yeah,
give
I'd
us
love
some
to
more
have
more
smack that
listeners?
we need.
You want to broaden? You want to get some people that actually just care about more
We should talk about
things?
Nats baseball.
No, we
That's
should.
not
We
a
should
bit of-
talk about
Bryce Harper?
We should talk about some NFL football.
I wanna talk about it.
as
You yourself said it goes
aforementioned-
football and then a mile of fucking room and everything. Fucking
100%.
As aforementioned,
I
I'm not
maintain
too
that.
concerned with that, seeing as how
He doesn't-
baseball is my main thing.
Can I
And
also?
also, he's got other podcasts for other shit. We're talking about baseball right now.
I want Craig to actually tell me whenever you guys are done talking about your bullshit. Can Craig?
Our bullshit.
Can
Can
Craig?
you fucking shut your
can
goddamn
Craig
iguana
tell me
mouth
about
for 1 minute of your life?
Philip Rivers Groundhog Day.
Oh my God, Philip Rivers.
Yeah, I knew that. Philip Rivers has a Groundhog Day.
Philip Rivers and Matt Ryan have ground. They're different. They're different days that they just live all the time.
Philip Rivers. What's Philip Rivers Groundhog Day?
Philip Rivers starts his day. He gets up and before he can make a coffee, he is down 4 with no timeouts and 1:10 on the clock.
On his own 3
That's
yard
all
line.
he does.
On his
That's
own 3 yard
all Philip Rivers does. Can you even remember a Chargers game that didn't end that way? Of course you can.
When he's
That's
out of
all
time, he
Philip
can't
Rivers-
spike the ball anymore.
Dude,
when he's on
he
the other
wakes up
team's 11.
at the beach on vacation and he's just like, I can't believe I have to score a touchdown. A field goal won't do it, and I don't have any timeouts.
And I have no timeouts, and I have no time to
That's all
spike the
Philip
ball.
Rivers does. And Matt Ryan's like his insane Freddy Krueger nightmare that he just can't stop living is I'm up 7 with 3 minutes left and I am destined to lose this game.
Because I can't get on the field.
Anytime you see the Falcons
Yeah.
up 1 touchdown, exactly 7 points with less than 5 minutes left, go ahead and put that in the L column. That's happening every time. It's happening every time.
It's like
It could be the NFC Championship
constantly
game.
rolling this boulder up the hill
Dude, all right, I'm about to give you
for all of time.
I'm about to say this with as much brevity as possible. And it's going to hurt. Most children learn about loss because, like, dad leaves or the fucking dog dies or something. But for me, it was in 1998 when the Walter Payton Man of the Year
And Tim
got
Dwight.
arrested for soliciting a prostitute right before they fucking got demolished in the Super Bowl against John Elway.
Against John Elway.
But I
The
kept
helicopter, bro.
I kept believing. And then
this is a great
Michael
story.
Vick got to the league.
Such a good
And he
story.
galvanized the way the sport was played. There wouldn't be
Michael Vick is my
there
favorite
wouldn't
football
be
player
an
of all time.
There wouldn't be an RG3. There wouldn't be a Colin Kaepernick. There wouldn't be a fucking Russell Wilson if there hadn't been a Michael Vick. He galvanized the way this fucking sport is
Yep.
played. You can't play man against me.
And then what happened?
He's the first dude that happened. And then he fought pit bulls. And he
then
went to
what happened?
prison. And I kept believing. The coach put fucking goodbye notes in lockers and quit in the middle of the season. I kept believing. In 2009, they lost a division game to the
Breaking my
fucking
heart.
Packers. Right? I was barely old enough to drink. I was at a bar. They were up 14 points. By the time I got back to my house, they were down 7. And then Aaron Rodgers went on to win his only ring. I kept believing. In 2013, they blew a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game to the 49ers. And it was the Harbaugh, lights went out, Super Bowl. But I kept fucking believing. And then 3 years ago, they started 6-0, and I was wild chesty. I was like, this team can't be stopped. And they lost the rest of the games. Until the last game of the year, they won a meaningless game against the Carolina Panthers team that had already clinched home field advantage and a first-round bye.
So then
They
what
played
happened,
their
Craig?
third string.
You stop believing.
No, let me. You want to tell us or you want me? All right,
Wanna
but when that shit happened, I had to talk to myself, and I was like, I feel I am a battered spouse. Like, if I left, if I was like, I'm picking up my shit and I'm leaving, all of my friends and loved ones would be like, we were all waiting on you to do that. You made the decision that was best for you. But I already bought the jersey. I'm already squeezing my fucking huge beer belly into this extra Smeedy and Matt Ryan jersey, wearing a hoodie over it when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. So you don't see that I look like a sausage casing out of my love for this shitty fucking team that can't stop in my entire life letting me down. I want you to understand, most people love I love the Atlanta Falcons more than members of my family. I used to get soot from the fireplace to wear as...
You did at Tito's last time we were here.
I don't want to talk about Tito's. That's where dreams go to die.
He put eyebrows.
He's right.
I used to do that. I used to have little cutouts out of the newspaper that I put in scrapbooks of Jamal Anderson and Ray Buchanan in the 98 season when I was a kid. All right. And so I'm going into this season 2 years ago when they made the Super Bowl. And it started the season, and the Falcons look good this year. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I can't believe in this team. And about 3 weeks go by, like, yeah, it's a good team. I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can't pull for them. I want them to win, but to root for them is opening up myself for a type of hurt that an ex-girlfriend...
We know the ending.
An ex-girlfriend... I've seen this episode.
We know how it ends.
I've seen this episode. An ex-girlfriend can't do this to me. You know what I mean? And so it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going, and then all of a sudden it's the playoffs. And you're looking at a team that finished with the second best offensive metrics ever in history. In history of the sport. And I was like, I don't believe. And then all of a sudden it's the NFC Championship game. And I'm like, all my friends are like, yo, they win this, they go. And I'm like, doesn't matter. They're not going to win. And they win, and they go. And I go down to my little brother's place in Athens. We have this huge party. They get a keg of Sweetwater. We got TVs everywhere. There's probably 50 to 100 people there, right, in all the rooms. And we sit down. And I get there early, head to toe in black and red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're drinking out of kegs at fucking 9 a.m. And all my friends are like, what do you think's going to happen today? I was like, they're definitely going to lose. They're playing against the greatest sports mind of all time. They're going to lose. And I was severely unpopular because of this. And then the game started. They got up. Second quarter happened. They got up a little more. The whole time, all these people are like, you don't believe, you don't believe. I'm like, no, I don't fucking believe. At halftime, dude, I got on Facebook. You can check this. I got on Facebook at halftime, and my status was premature jocularity. Y'all are celebrating too early. This team is going to let you down.
I texted him middle of third quarter. I was like, you guys did it.
And I was like, watch your fucking mouth. Watch your fucking mouth. At the end of the third quarter, my brother sits down next to me on the couch. He takes a pint glass out of my hand. He puts a full pint glass of beer in my hand. He has a full pint glass himself. He cheers me, and he says, do you believe now? And I look at him, and I look at the score, and I look back at him, and I say, you know what? I do. I believe. And I'm not saying they lost because I believed. I'm saying the second I said that, the greatest collapse in history of the fucking Super Bowl took place. And when it ended, it was dead silent in this house of well better than 50 people as they filed single file out of the fucking door. I had my hat over my eyes crying.
Not the same way I cried when the Caps won.
It was a much different type of crying.
Much different type of
crying.
Much
different type of crying. I wouldn't know that type of crying.
No.
That's to never have gotten there. That is
that's
a freak thing.
Like,
I knew it in my soul. Why would I fucking?
But what's so wonderful about that story
believe
is that it's the true love, live and die, death by your team. That like you stand by your team always, and then they put a dagger in your heart, and you're like, you know what, man? I don't believe in them. I hope, but I don't believe ever. I don't believe. And then you don't believe. And then they do a thing, and then you still don't believe. And then they do another thing that's greater, and you still don't believe because you just know better. And then all of a sudden, it's right fucking there. And you're like, okay, I believe.
All you have to do is grab it, and
they can't.
And then they just pull the rug out from under you.
And it's an historic collapse. It's never happened before. Do you realize that? It's never happened before.
You know, I felt the worst for was Arthur Blank.
Well, but you say the worst collapse in Super Bowl history, and anybody from yes, and you're not wrong. But anybody from New England is gonna say the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
You're allowed to say whatever you want if you're from New England, if you're from Boston.
But don't you agree? I mean,
if you're from
saying
Boston,
the same thing.
No,
I mean, it's blowing like a 3-1 lead for
you're blowing
Golden State.
or the other team is overcoming insurmountable odds. It depends on which.
Okay.
If you want to, if that's arguing just for the sake of arguing,
that's probably more true because here's what it comes down to.
Is it the greatest comeback or is it the greatest collapse?
I'm glad you asked sports fans.
Is it not both of them?
It's absolutely both simultaneous, but I'm glad you asked sports fans. What it really comes down to is coaching because they did not get outplayed. They did not get out executed. They got out coached. These might not be exactly right, but these are very close. A normal NFL game has 50 plus snaps.
Yeah.
Okay. 50 plus plays per offense.
Nuts.
It's not the second half. It's the whole game. The Atlanta Falcons had like 57 snaps that game. The Patriots had 93 snaps. 93. There's a reason the defense started pissing down their legs at the end of that game. And it's because the defense played straight up 2 games of football. It's because the offense for the New England Patriots were doing this low risk, low reward, high efficiency, dink and dunk bullshit when it wasn't about the yards we're getting. It's just getting a lot.
But is that you as an Atlanta Falcons fan saying, yeah, we lost, but
I'm saying we didn't lose. We got out coached.
You lost though.
Yeah, we definitely lost. I mean, however you want to frame it, it's the fucking same thing to me. The point is the result is the same. One of the things I love more than anything betrayed me because somebody was smarter than them.
So if Garoppolo was the quarterback of the Patriots on that Super Bowl, would it still have beaten you?
Absolutely.
And
nothing to do with the quarterback.
Brady. Had nothing to do with Brady.
No, it didn't. No.
Had nothing to do
Product of the system.
5 rings, fuck
100.
off.
Dude, the amount of plays, the amount of plays that took place.
Are you being serious?
Yes.
The amount of play, I'm not saying that any 6-round quarterback. I'm just saying you put Tony Romo there.
So can I put Colt McCoy in a Patriots uniform and win that game?
No, you can't put Colt McCoy there. But to answer your question seriously,
it could have been any 6-round quarterback that got drafted outside of Tom Brady. It could have been the next quarterback in line whose name we say.
I could have been anybody. I could have been any guy who has played football as a quarterback in his life. I could have put him in that game.
Are you hearing what I'm saying?
I've watched this game. I've watched that.
Obviously, you're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it could have been any 6-round quarterback, the guy who came after Tom Brady. It could have been
Tom Brady's
that guy.
just luck, pure luck.
It could have been the next guy in line.
He was just
let him speak for 1 fucking second.
It could have been the next guy in line who came after Tom Brady, whose name we'd be saying right now instead of Tom Brady's.
So Brady was lucky.
Is what I mean.
Absolutely.
Brady's very lucky to have gotten to play under Bill Belichick for all those years.
Dude,
having Bill Belichick in your ear for that many years will create a great quarterback out of a mediocre
Brady doesn't
quarterback.
decide how many snaps are called.
I'm not saying Brady didn't benefit from being where he got to go, right?
Yeah.
But you're telling me that if he went anywhere
If Tony Romo started that game, the result would have been the same.
But Tony Romo's different. Tony Romo's a proven quarterback who can do some good things. You're telling me that if Tom Brady went to any other team in the NFL, he would not be.
Dude, I'm telling you, if Tom Brady, if Tom Brady played for the Packers, if Tom Brady played for the Packers the last 20 years, they would have wasted him. They would have wasted him the same fucking way. Dude, if Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers, not anyone else, but if Aaron Rodgers would have played for the Patriots the last 20 years and Tom Brady would have played for Green Bay, we would be looking at the same thing.
Fucking thing, man.
They're both 6-round picks.
You're talking about a Hall of Fame shoe-in.
Okay, so Eli Manning's got 5 rings.
Eli Manning's a 2-time MVP. Tell me somebody who hasn't accomplished shit that could still do it.
Romo doesn't have any rings. I said Romo.
But his numbers, he's accomplished a lot of things.
Okay, so Matt Ryan.
Tim Couch.
Matt Ryan? Can Matt Ryan...
Tim Hasselbeck.
You don't think that Matt
Charlie
Ryan...
Whitehurst.
Yeah, you're calling backups, dude.
I'm
Let's talk
calling
about
guys
fucking legitimate
apparently
starters.
it doesn't matter.
Listen, it
Yes,
doesn't
it does,
matter.
dude. You're
I don't
just
think it
trying to
matters.
be a controversialist.
Me personally, I don't think it matters, and I 100% believe this. Like
He's a product of a system.
It could have been, yes.
You
It could have
think
been
if
any
Peyton
random
Manning
guy.
started for the Patriots the last 20 years, he would only have 2 rings?
Of course, but it's Peyton fucking Manning, dude.
That's my point, dude. They happen to have
He's
a legendary
super
quarterback.
great.
They happen to have, my point is they happen to have a legendary quarterback and the greatest football mind of all time. And it doesn't matter what legendary quarterback you put in that system. Yes, you're right. You can't put Charlie Whitehurst in there.
Legendary.
Exactly.
quarterback.
I
You
don't think
can't
he
put
has to be
Charlie
legendary.
Whitehurst in there. But if you put Kurt Warner
So
in there,
Brady-
dude's got 5 rings.
So then Brady's legendary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brady's a
Okay.
legendary quarterback, but
Aaron
it
Rodgers
wouldn't. But I
is
think that's only
legendary,
because
and
of
he
Bill
only has
Belichick.
1 ring.
Brady isn't legendary because of Belichick. and
Absolutely,
Belichick
he
isn't
is.
He is.
Absolutely,
Okay,
he is.
Yes. However,
Absolutely,
he's
he is.
got the skill set. He possessed it inside the whole fucking time. Dude, Brady
But
made
would-
plays.
but
What
see, but
skill
we-
set? He
we
can't
don't-
drive the ball anymore.
We don't get
he
to see
wasn't
what he
making
would have been without Bill
bananas
Belichick.
lights out throws during that Super Bowl. I've watched it multiple times. He's doing 6 and
You're a masochist.
4-yard routes. Absolutely, I am. You can ask Emma Moorcroft and Matt Bennett, dude. They were in. Matt was in town, and we were all trying to hang out. And I was like, "Yo, let me watch this game."
All
again.
I'm saying is it's not only due to Bill's structure. Is not the only reason that
You're right.
guy
And
has
you're right.
experienced
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. It comes down to the offensive coordinator too.
Maybe it's big.
It comes down to the offensive coordinator too.
I'd be
The
willing
guy's
to listen.
still the one out there doing it.
But Tom Brady was
Because
created.
he's the one playing under Bill Belichick. And my point to you, and you've also admitted this, if Peyton Manning was starting there, we'd be having this.
Peyton. You're comparing a Hall of Fame guy to a Hall of Fame
I'm saying
guy.
Peyton Manning's better than Tom Brady skill set wise. He just wasn't playing for the greatest fucking football mind ever. If Matt Ryan
I
or Tom
can't
Brady, I'm saying
disagree
it
with
doesn't
that.
matter.
It's
If you
hard.
go top 5,
It
6
matters a
quarterback,
little bit.
if you go, no, it doesn't. You can pick a top 5 or 6 quarterback in the last 20 years and plug them into that fucking system, and you get
It
the
works.
same result.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that
you're right.
on
You could
that
put
day,
Charlie
if Tom
Couch
Brady
in
wasn't
there.
drafted,
You could put Trent
and it was
Green
the
in
next
there.
guy, we would be saying the next guy's
So
name
why
instead
has
of
he
Tom
been there
Brady.
for 16 seasons?
Because
and
Bill Belichick.
That's how the cards came up, dude.
and not had anybody been replaced. Like, if it was only the system, then why haven't they found somebody else?
They did, and they
who can
and
throw
Brady,
the ball better.
They did.
and
They
who can
did.
Get out of
They
the pocket
did,
better.
and we already talked about this. They did, and he went over fucking Belichick's head and
No,
had that dude traded to San Francisco
Those 4 games, how did they end
Why
up
did
faring?
his word mean more than the
because
coach's?
he bought him rings.
If the coach is truly responsible,
The coach isn't. The owner is.
but if it's the coach's, if the onus is on the coach to succeed, then why did Brady get his way and Bill not?
Because Bill does things Bill's way, and people who are billionaires and quote own athletes don't like to be told how to do their job. And the dude who bought what you perceive to be,
But if it's just a system,
do you want to talk or not?
I'm asking you, if it's just the system, then
Right.
shouldn't he have been ousted 3 years ago?
Absolutely, and I'm telling you, Belichick would have loved that.
But listen, why create?
system
Why, he's
would've
already
loved
trained.
that.
He's already trained Tom Brady to be his boy. He's already created the perfect monster
Brady
within Tom
executes,
Brady.
man. Like he
Tom
does.
Brady.
He makes the throws.
He's
needs
the
to make.
universal soldier.
He puts the
and
ball
Romo
where it
would've
needs to
done
go
the same
to the
fucking
guy it
thing.
needs to go to
And
when it needs to go.
and all I'm saying is that it very well could have been the next guy in line,
Who?
whoever the fuck it
You
was.
don't know
Garoppolo.
exactly. You don't know.
But see, the thing
But-
is that
but
if
what
it
he's
were
saying
another
is we
guy,
don't know
then Tom
because that
Brady
guy
would be the
wasn't
guy
number
that
eight.
we don't know right
You don't
now.
know who it is.
Then Tom Brady would be that guy that we don't know right
Which
now.
brings,
It would just be
brings
another
us,
guy.
Which
It
brings
would be
us to the last
fucking
thing. This brings us to let's
yeah, because
I know
we're
we
at
gotta wrap soon.
two and a
We're
half
going crazy.
hours right
We're going
now.
crazy.
We're wrapping it up.
let's wrap on this. This is
Tom Brady's the greatest
baseball.
quarterback
You're okay. Glad you said that. You feel good.
I don't feel that way. I believe it's
Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers is the Aaron
Skill set
Rodgers would
wise,
be.
there's no one who makes those throws.
All right,
But
except-
I even said that earlier in this podcast. I was like,
beat it
Aaron
death
Rodgers
with
is
a
the real
wrench.
goat.
It goes Joe Montana, Tim Tebow, Joe Namath, Johnny Unitas.
Okay, yeah, you're just saying things.
Roll Tide, but
What? Yeah, good on you.
Calvin Ridley.
What it comes down to
Chipper
is
Jones is
when
the best quarterback.
part of the reason that we're able to have this, like, you could plug that boy in and this boy in, and whatever when it comes to football.
yeah,
It's because it's so random. Even like it's a 1-game sample when it gets to the playoffs, and the best team does not always win on a day-to-day basis in the NFL.
no,
And on top of that, the ball is shaped. It's an oblique spheroid. Like, you don't know which way it's bouncing when it hits the ground.
true.
Everything is random.
yeah,
Everything is random.
yes,
And when it comes to like sports that have an ability to gauge what their playoff system is constructing, like, this actually was the best team. The NHL and the NBA have it right. They have long series, the entire playoffs.
You got to beat your guy 4 times.
You got to beat them a bunch. When it comes to the NFL, it's super exciting. We talked about scarcity. We covered all this stuff in
Yeah.
this
The guy hits the
mammoth
upright,
podcast.
you lose. He doesn't, you win.
Dude, you take one of the greatest offenses of all time, the 1998 Minnesota Vikings, Chris Carter, Randy Moss, fucking Cunningham. Like, you have this insane team, and it comes down. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons, and Gary Anderson, who hadn't missed a field goal all year, went wide left, and they just happened to not be the ones to lose to John Elway in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, it just it really objectively is very random. Which brings me to baseball. You have this beautiful 162 game sample. At the end of 162 games, you know who the fucking best baseball
But then
team
why
is.
do you figure out that one game?
Right. No, that's what I'm getting to. You have this 162 game sample. You know the Boston Red Sox are maniacs. You know the Braves are an above average but not great team.
yeah,
You know that the Astros are in it, the Dodgers are in it. You know these things because you have this insane sample size,
yes,
right? And then the rest of the playoffs are series, which matters. Except for the wild card,
Which is
all of
game.
a sudden we fucking decided it's okay to have a 1-game sample in baseball.
Fuck
which
that.
is cool in that it starts to borrow from
fuck
football.
that and the infield fly rule for
Oh,
fucking.
dude, I'll flip a fucking table about this infield fly rule.
What do you want the guys to do?
I want the ump to get it right, dude. I want
Start
the
running?
Dude, it's not the guys, that's the umps. You don't know what we're talking about.
It's that dude. I know the infield fry rule.
You know what it is, but you don't know why we're
Infield
bringing
fry
it up.
rule.
You know the fry
I knew
rule.
that if you hit a pop in the
fries
infield,
allowed on the
then
field.
you
You
get
got
a
a lot of
small
rumble
fry
mitts and a
from
lot of
Wendy's the
fire-
next day.
Fireball
If
and
there's
rumble
2 men
mitts.
on.
My point is though, you have a sport in football that, like, it's not set up in a way that it can get it right because you can't play that many games because it's so gladiatorial and violent,
Yeah,
right? Like, you just, like, it is what it is, and we know it's random, and we're gonna embrace it, and it's gonna be super fun the entire way. You have games like baseball and hockey, basketball and hockey, where in the postseason, really the cream rises.
yep,
And you have games like baseball, for some reason, have this, like, insane inventory. There's just this, like, mammoth regular season to pick back on and really see, like, these are the teams that are great.
yep.
And we're going to put dude, we don't even measure regular season in 1-game samples. It's all series.
Everything.
It's
yeah,
3-game series. There's a
Four-game
few
series.
2-game series, 3 or 4-game series mostly. And we're going to get to the wild card and be like, yeah, the best baseball team is going to advance in 1 game. Dude, that never happens. That's
so
such a
dumb.
crazy.
That is
Yeah, I
It's
don't
such
like
a
that at
glaring
all.
hole in the way that we measure
very,
the
very
metrics
dumb.
of worth.
And
in
I'm a
baseball
fan of
postseason.
rules not changing, but
But
that
that's a
needs
new
to
rule,
happen.
though. That's not.
That's
way
a
old.
new thing.
The
was,
one
was
game,
it used
the
to be a
one-
wild card series?
No, the wild card thing only happened in the last like 17 years. I think
dude,
it was like
Yeah, I
2002.
mean, I know that. But
It
I
was
mean,
like 2003 they
right?
started
But there
doing
was
it.
no series before. There was no wild card series
Right,
before
they
that,
just
right?
went divisional and then ALCS.
But we're
Or
gonna have a
NLCS.
1 game. It just
It was a
doesn't.
3-game
the history
series
of it
and then it
doesn't
was a
matter.
7.
Yeah, you're right.
The history of it doesn't matter. The point stands. You can't just like
It was
you
the
can
best of
you can
5 and
you
then it
can
was the
play the
best of 7.
histrionics thing all you want, right? But if we're gonna make the postseason more exciting by having a wild card, they should goddamn for sure at least get to play a 3-game series.
Not only that, that'll give the other guys an extra
Couple days.
Do you guys not remember this? In 2003, they started doing it.
I remember
the
that.
divisional series was a best of 5.
I know that.
And then it went to a 7 for the championship.
Yes.
And that was all they had. And then they added a wild card, which was all of a sudden they were just like, we're gonna do one. It's like,
yes, that's
so
what
it's
I
not
mean.
a best
when
of 5. It's not
when
a
they add the wild card has always
game.
been a 1-game thing. I don't
And
think there's ever.
Why isn't it 3 of 5
Yes.
like the rest of them are 3 of 5?
And so, but like, dude, it's so recent that I just don't buy into this. Like, you gotta respect histrionics and the sanctity of the game. Like, it's bullshit.
We're still playing the same rules we had 150 years ago.
You shouldn't have a 1-game sample ever in a sport this
they
random.
used to play a best
and
of 9 for the
baseball and
they only
football.
did that once.
Baseball and football are stupid random.
1919 World Series, by the way.
Your man's over here pulling up the references from the half-court line.
Black Sox.
Yeah. Which was, ironically enough, also the first time that a national anthem was played before the game in any sport.
Nobody took a knee.
In any sport.
Nobody took a knee. Goodbye to you every night. That's
also,
it.
before we say goodbye to you every night, why are there a restaurant called Tar Babies?
There's
Thank
a Tar
you,
Babies
Cherry
in Grove.
Grove.
Craig hates it.
I hate that. I think it's super racist.
I want to
burn
thank
that shit
Kelsey so
down.
much. If you don't listen to Kelsey's podcast and you're just listening to it for the first time, you're a fucking asshole, and you should listen to it a bunch more.
No, I'm not gonna go so far as to insult you, but we had a wonderful time.
No, I love
sitting
this
with
fucking
our great
guy.
friend Kelsey.
I want to say thank you guys for listening, and if you've made it to this point, congratulations.
We should. No,
Is
if
this
you
your
have,
longest one?
email us. We'll come to your house and serenade you with a song. Cause
for $1,000.
Nope, for nothing. Because you made it this far.
Oh, you mean
in
him?
The whole thing.
Oh, these people.
Anybody who's made it this far in the podcast. We should sing something in 3-part harmony right now. I feel like.
Fuck hockey.
Wait. Fuck hockey. All right.
That's all you get for today, you fuckheads.
Goodbye to every night.
Monty, Craig, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Kelsey, for having us.
This was awesome.
Man.
I love how eloquently you two argue.
We're back to Nashville tomorrow morning.
To see somebody else who does that like I do with the people who I'm with, as much as you guys are together. Not obviously as much. We've went over that.
Yeah, we're together more than anybody.
This is this was really something marvelous to behold. Watching you two converse. About
drink
things.
and yell. Yeah, we drink and yell a lot. So.
You should sit in the back seat when we go to the next fucking gig. Like,
I'm good.
This is normal.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
This is a normal thing.
I'm fine here. I'll listen. But I will say this: for as much as you guys passionately speak to each other, I encourage you to sit an iPhone between the two of you when you're driving and record.
We should do that. We've done
do
it
like a road talk.
We've done that a couple
You guys should 100% do that. Get you an iRig. You can use microphones if you want. Trust me, do that. Y'all would have a good podcast.
Yeah, let's
should.
Let's do it.
Y'all would have a good podcast.
You're a real inspiration, Kelsey.
Thank you, bud.
Seriously,
you've always been an inspiration to me, and since you quit drinking and smoking, I've kind of hated you a little. But
that's
I
fine.
love you.
That's fine.
Well, he knows he's better than you now.
Yeah, I only suspected then. Now I have proof.
He's always been the better musician. Now he's just proved to be a better man. Now he's just proved to be a better person.
There's never a better musician. I'm not that at all. But I appreciate your kind words. I do thank you both for coming. I thank everyone at home for listening. I thank everyone at home for watching. Love you. Fucking mean it.
Mean it, buddy.
Go Braves. Chop on, motherfuckers. That's all you get. That's all you get. All right. Peace, motherfuckers. We are out on audio. We're still rolling on video. Wave goodbye, everybody.